have we? Make sure to press all the damn buttons. Even some that don't need to be pressed. Want to say greetings. Good evening. How the hell are you? Welcome to your home for wrestling and MMA sports talk and a whole lot more. Probably more than some people ever bargained for. This is Beyond Ringside, live from the Vault in the Full Range Entertainment Studios in beautiful Birmingham, Alabama. Yours truly, the Magic City Motor Mouth Fast Eddie Lane behind the control panel, welcoming in studio tag team partner Mark Mempho Bowman.
Give me just a minute and I'll press my fart button.
And welcoming in tag team partner, the Wicked Nemesis. What's up, Wick?
How's everyone this week?
Dude, it's been crazy. I'm still exhausted coming out of last night. Global Championship Wrestling show up in Palmerdale, USA. Mabo, how'd your week go, bro?
I had a cheeseburger.
He got Whataburger for 2 straight Sundays in a row.
So now I'm officially obese. You know what? Don't let them some guns fool you. That's not a large fry. I've seen large fries, and that, sir, is no large fry.
Wicked, I hope you had a good week, man.
Of course I haven't.
Of course you haven't, or of course you have it?
I have not.
I'm sorry.
But did you lose any fingers?
Well, no, not this week. But you know how these idiots are. These idiots from these whatever you want to call them, companies.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I understand how sometimes that gets worked into play. Hold on, let me switch headsets real quick. And also, Wicked, you've got a huge echo coming through your system. Turn your speakers down a little bit. Yeah, it's been a little bit chaotic this week. There have been so many things said on so many different fronts, it's not even funny. And I will be covering that during last call. You have a guarantee on hiccups. Gotta love it. Folks, Mabo, who we got coming on at 6 o'clock?
In the 6 o'clock hour from Chikara, we have Mr. Touchdown, Mark Angelosetti. You did that because you know I'd screw up the name.
Mark Angelosetti will be joining us. Mr. Touchdown, Mark Angelosetti, joining us at the top of the 6. I hope Mark didn't screw me up on that. And at 7 o'clock Central Time, we are going to be joined by Mark Bravura from NWA Fusion. Looking forward to having him on. A couple of things I want to do real quick. Number one, special hello to J Cal over at the Alliance blog. Looking forward to upcoming and also very special thank you to the NWA Women's World Champion, Wicked Nemesis sister. And we're actually working on the relationship tree as we speak. I think we're all in that damn bush somewhere. And a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
I can usually take my hand and put it in 2 bushes.
No comment. Special thank you to NWA Women's World Champion Tasha Simone for all the help with setting up the interview with Mark. It's going to be great to have him on as well.
Wait.
Bravura.
No.
Yes.
You do? Okay. How many Marks are going to be in the show? Not counting the ones that are listening.
We got 3 so far.
So we have 3. If we get one more, it's going to sound like a hair-lipped dog in here.
Mark.
Thank you, Eugene Nick Densmore, for that joke.
Yeah, actually, we may have some surprises coming up on the backside of the 7 o'clock hour as well.
No, we won't.
Oh, yeah, we will.
No, we won't.
Haven't told you that part yet.
You need to stop that. You're just going to make just more and more enemies and enemas.
No, actually, you're going to like this one.
It's involved me getting a...
No, but it's actually some good friends of ours and some of my teammates over at Global Championship Wrestling are working a show up in the Volunteer State this evening, and we might be getting some exclusive backstage interviews. So,
well, wait a minute. Anyway, we'll discuss that later.
Okay. Well, you never know what's going to happen around this place. By the way, Wicked, we're trying to make a decision. Which one of us is going to be sent home from Australia on a DUI? Me, you, or Mabo?
Can't get a DUI in Australia.
Mabo?
I don't drink.
So I guess it would be me, wouldn't it?
Damn. No, you literally cannot get a DUI in Australia. There is no law.
Well, that's what happens when you're full of lawless criminals.
Yeah, because
exactly.
I'll let you run with that one. By the way, Mark, Mabo, you were actually going to ask. You were asking Wicked a question off air just as we were getting ready to fire up the microphones. You want to take that one now?
No, we'll leave that for off air. Off air is off air. You don't. What stays on air? What stays off air is off air.
Okay.
Yeah, all up in somebody's business.
No, because I'm just going to go ahead and ask. Wicked, out of all the people that you're working with right now, how many people do you officially have under your umbrella?
It's nobody's business because I never tip my hand. I'm good at poker for that reason.
See, this is why I said off air stays off air. But no.
No, because I was watching the Global Championship Wrestling product this morning at 1 a.m. on CW21, and a person that Wicked and I are both very familiar with, Mr. CJ Awesome, was on there. He took on Jeremy Foster in one-on-one competition, and I know, Wicked, you'd worked with CJ on more than one occasion.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. I'm not going to put him over.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Now, I do have to ask, I know that you're not directly affiliated because of the suspension, but can we shed any light on the major announcement that Shane Knowles of PWA put out last night?
Oh, you're talking about him stepping down? Yeah, he's quitting. Shane Knowles is done.
So he's
Shane
officially...
Knowles is retired.
He is retiring all the way across the board from PWA and pro wrestling?
Yep. He said that, his time had come. Last night was their 100th show. And, he and I had a conversation back when we were on actually good terms, and he had told me that he always envisioned, going out on top. And can you fault the man for going out on top? I can't fault the man for going out on top. Instead of being like his cohort Mike Jackson and hanging on too long, Shane Knowles knew when it was time to get out.
But also, now, does this mean the end of the Peach State Wrestling Alliance, or is he turning the reins over?
No. Yeah, for years people have been wanting to buy PWA. Let's be honest. Now, this is a shoot. People wanted to buy PWA because of the talent that is brought in and the talent that has gone through that place and actually continuously talked about it, because it's a great place to work. You all know. You all have been there.
Yeah.
And he finally decided to sell it. And you cannot fault the man one single bit. Shane Knowles, I hope you enjoy retirement. And you built an empire that, let's hope, nobody ever steps up and lets crumble. And whoever's hands that it's going to be in, I'm sure that they're capable of continuing the banner that is Peach State Wrestling Alliance.
Well, I've had a chance to go to more than one show for PWA. I've actually worked a couple of them with them. And Shane and everybody in the front office has always been tremendous. So, Shane, I will go ahead and sit back and say this, my brother. I wish you the very best in your future endeavors. And I mean that sincerely. I'm not doing the E-style on that one. But there's always a part of me.
Wait. Who has ecstasy?
Not me.
No, I think she's...
You said the E-style. I was like, hey, boom, chim, boom, chim, boom, chim, boom.
No, I think ecstasy is working the booby trap this week, so...
Yeah, I don't think she's at the ballet on Valley.
But Wicked, let's be honest.
Go ahead.
Your suspension, is it not coming up? The end of your suspension, is it not coming up in Peach State?
Well, it was said in 6 months, and it did take place at the beginning of June, so that would put me right at the beginning of December able to come back. But you know what? They're going to have to give me more money to come back, let's be honest.
Well, yeah, but I mean, don't you find it kind of ironic now that Shane Knowles is stepping down and that's this, that, and the other, and, people who speak Azerbaijani? He's coming, you're coming back, he's leaving, I'm just saying. And I know the pockets, the vaults run deep at the Bank of the Bohemian Grove there, so.
Well, the problem is that I actually talked to Shane a couple days ago. And he told me that, with everything going on, because all the legal problems that he had whenever we were there and when we left, and all of a sudden you have Simon Sermon battling with Rick Michaels. I mean, there was so much mascara and femininity running around in that ring that, it was just too much for him. I always wondered and asked him if Simon Sermon and Rick Michaels' menstrual cycles ever synced up. But you know how it is when you get two catty guys like that, and then, having to put up with my diva ass for 6 months, it was a little much for him. But give kudos and props to Shane Knowles and Mike Jackson for working a territory-style booking committee with having guys come and go every 4, 5, 6, 3 months, and keeping it fresh. That's something that's not seen, because the Wicked Nemesis cannot stay in one territory for too long. And anybody that believes there's not territories out there, I dare you to run in Pell City.
I know not of what you speak, my friend.
Or at a library, I'm just saying.
I'm still trying to figure that one out. We'll talk off air. No, it's just, and there have been so many things going on. We put out the press release earlier this week, which has actually been in play for a little while, but we actually put it out through our social network. The factor of the sale of the National Wrestling Alliance has been completed. A coalition, I'll say this, or a company out of the great state of Texas has now taken over the National Wrestling Alliance, and we are looking forward to the opportunity to being able to sit down with members of that conglomerate and find out their vision for the new direction for the NWA, the oldest and largest governing body of professional wrestling known the world over, since before even I was born, which is actually a quite scary thought, since I am Methuselah, and I've been threatened with more lawsuits than most people have active brain cells, or Mempho has active hair follicles right now. And we'll leave that one alone. However, fact of the matter is, there are a number of great promotions running out there. And speaking of Wicked,
no, there's not. There's not many. There's not many great promotions running out there. There's a few good promotions, some really good promotions, and then a lot of crappy promotions out there. Let's be honest.
Very true. Before we go too heavily toward the top of the hour, I do want to ask, you got less than a week. Is Pandora going to be ready?
I don't know. I haven't talked to her. I'm ready. I'm mentally, spiritually, and emotionally and physically ready. I hope she is. I know she had kickboxing class this past Thursday. Let's hope she did good. But it's a little too late now if you're not ready. 6 days before the biggest match in your career. Well, I don't know. She did wrestle Kong and beat Kong. So one of the biggest matches in your career, if you're not ready 6 days beforehand, maybe you're in the wrong spot. I always tell everybody, I tell this to Chris Knox and to Damon Taz all the time, and even some of the younger guys. Damon Taz has been around a little bit, but still, if you have pressure, that means that there's something important riding on it. And if there's no pressure on you, then you're probably not doing anything worth a crap.
We are making a reference to a match that Wicked Nemesis is directly involved in this coming Saturday night up in Lebanon, Tennessee.
Lebanon.
With the NWA Top Rope promotion. His charge, Calm Like a Bomb Pandora, will be taking on the NWA Women's World Champion Tasha Simone, family member here on Beyond Ringside, which is making for a really awkward circumstance because it's tag team partner who is managing extended family member who is challenging extended family member.
What?
And there's not even any in-laws in factor here.
What?
Thanks for playing on that one. And Wicked,
I'll rock the jukebox.
Thank you, Alan Jackson. I'll let you actually tell everybody the stipulations for the match, if you would, please.
Oh, it's a no-holds-barred match for the NWA Women's World Championship. In other words, it's hardcore. Whatever happens, happens. But there will be a winner. This is two warriors. These are two bad-ass women going head-to-head for the most prestigious women's championship out there, the NWA Women's World Championship. September 8th, 220 East Hyde Street, Lebanon, Tennessee. September 8th. Bell time, I believe, is 7:30, right, Eduardo?
I believe so.
This is not something you want to miss. And I do realize that she has Simply Perfection with her, and I have a contingency plan for them. I have somebody, let's say, coming with me that can definitely handle their own against Simply Perfection. Now, everybody's wanting to know who it is. You'll just have to wait to September 8th to find out. September 8th, 220 East Hyde Street, Lebanon, Tennessee, NWA Top Rope. No holes barred match. Tasha has promised this will be the most violent match that you have ever seen. Whether it be women's, ladies, divas, knockouts, men's, a wrestling match is what you're going to see.
And I wish I could be there for it. Maybe you want to go?
What?
Tennessee next Saturday night?
If I'm not broke.
We just totally caught Mabel off guard on that one.
No, maybe I was reading because it's fallopian.
You are not looking at internet porn on that damn laptop. I will kill you.
No, I'm not looking at
That would be the number one subject of which we bust each other's chops around this pop stand.
porn.
Yeah, that would be it. Because God knows there's enough of it out there. There's more porn out there than there is bad wrestling, and that's not by much. Now, there's so many things. And let me go ahead and say this one. For those who have not seen Ring of Honor yet, I'm going to go ahead and pop one. The 8th team in the ROH World Tag Team Championship run.
You have my attention now. Go ahead, what?
There you go. Has been announced, and they have actually had a match. Steve Corino and the Zombie Princess are the 8th team, Jimmy Jacobs. But they've also publicly stated the fact that they agreed with Jim Cornette, or it has been agreed to in principle, that if they lose any match going up to through this tournament, that they will leave ROH. Do you think that they've just tipped their hand as to who in the hell's going to win the World Tag Belts? Mark?
No, because you never know. You never know. I will say this, though. Steve Corino, if you're listening, and we know he's not, dude, you need to grow the beard back because you know it's the fat man's jawline. Even when you were in shape, you still needed the beard, dude. So please, did Eddie just? I think Eddie just checked his chin and his jawline with his beard. So Steve Corino, please grow the beard back, please.
And then, of course, one thing popped in my head, but I'm going to go and wait for that and say, Wicked Nemesis, do you think they've tipped their hand?
Wait, what?
That's my gimmick.
Yeah, really. Sounding lost is a Mabo-ism.
Yeah, tag team, woohoo.
Now, wait a minute. That's one thing that we have constantly talked about on here is the lack of tag team wrestling, and now ROH is making a concerted effort to fill the vacant tag team title since Kenny King took his ball and went to TNA. And they've got 8 teams involved in this situation where actually it looks like a real tag team division, except for the fact that nobody really knows who the Guardians of the Truth are, and nobody gives a damn about 2 of the other teams.
Oh, I know who they are.
Who dat?
They're the guys in the black masks.
Okay, thank you.
The mask under a mask.
And that's got to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, really. Cut off circulation.
They should bring in the Black Scorpions, I'm just saying.
Ole Anderson's not doing anything. He could do the voiceovers.
No, that only works for Shockmaster.
I'm telling you, I don't understand why Ole never went into voiceover work. I mean, come on, he did all the Black Scorpions.
Wait,
what?
Doesn't he do Perry the Platypus?
And that's our first cartoon reference for the day. Disney, of course, it would be. As long as we're not talking about that annoying yellow squeezable thing and that. Never mind.
What?
The yellow sponge and the pink star that are totally useless on television.
Okay.
Don't mention the name.
Why? What do you have against? What?
Dude, I'm sorry. I would rather watch Beavis and Butthead from the first. Well, of course, that's always a good thing anyway.
Yeah.
And there's your second reference.
Burp. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Continuing on. No, and I'm actually very happy the fact that they pushed Caprice and Cedric Alexander into the second round, of course, and they took on
Caprice should go and take Angelo De Niro aside and be like, Pope, this is how you do a preacher's gimmick. I love Caprice.
And the reason why Caprice can make the preacher gimmick work so well is the fact that Caprice is an ordained minister.
Well, there's a difference between being an ordained minister and a street pope or street preacher or street minister or whatever the popage is, other than being hurt.
Isn't? Yeah, I was going to say a broke pimp.
By the way, did anybody?
It's hard out here for a pimp.
It is. That's what I've heard. Did you guys see Batman yet?
No.
Wicked?
3 times.
Okay. Sorry,
I'm eating Golden Grams. I'm sorry.
Oh, Golden Grams are so awesome. Did you see Pope in the movie? We'll wait for you to finish.
Not that I know of.
Because remember, that's what he was out doing when he was not being utilized was he was supposed to be out there filming the Batman.
I didn't see a black man in Batman. Besides,
See, and that just goes to show you. And but Wicked, have you heard the news about they're already talking about the new movie, the new Batman trilogy that they're going to start, or at least the new Batman movie. They've already announced principal casting. They've actually sent.
What?
Well, hold on, wait for it. So they've actually sent out feelers yet. I don't know, and I'm going to go ahead and break the spoiler on this. But have you heard who they're going to cast for the new Batman?
no, I haven't. No, of course not.
Well, it's our own Fast Eddie Lane.
That's great.
Do it.
I'm not doing it. And that's the problem nowadays. But
But anyway, something we kind of touched on about
what happens when you max out a credit card.
about Australia and suspendings of the drunks and the things, because we never did bring that up.
Right?
But Eddie,
Take it.
someone's on parole.
Someone's on parole.
Yes, Cameron, one of the Funkadactyls, Brodus Clay's dancers. You might remember her as Ariana or Ariane or Ariane, or the girl who liked to say that her favorite match was Melina versus Alicia Fox from the recent Tough Enough.
Right?
She decided to get a little tipsy up in the club.
Everybody get a little. Okay.
She blew
Literally.
a 2.0. No, she didn't blow 2.0. What did she? She blew .20 on the breathalyzer. But that's not the bad thing, because we've all seen the reports where WWE talent has been pulled over for driving under the influence or what have you. She decided to try and bribe the arresting officer $10,000. I don't even know where's she getting the money from, first of all, but to let her go. And of course, the officer said no, because she didn't want her job to find out what had happened. But she never listed WWE as her employer. Well, word got back to WWE, and they were like, TMZ broke the story.
Yeah.
Of course. WWE didn't know anything about it. And so they've taken the matter into consideration, and now Cameron, or whatever you want to call her, she's been suspended for 15 days. She was on the first tour. She was on the first day of the Australian tour, and then they sent her home. Stupid move. But here's stupid move part 2 from what I heard. And listen up, gentlemen. Back during SummerSlam, even though we didn't see him on air, and I know we got to hurry up because we're about to hit that break. Coming up, Mr. Touchdown, Mark Angelosetti. I'll get that word right. Anyway, we both know that, or we all know that Mike Tyson and Stone Cold were backstage at SummerSlam. They weren't shown, but they were there. Well, the word going around was that Cameron, or Ariana, or whatever, Areola, went up to Stone Cold and said, "Hey, remember me? I was the first one eliminated from Tough Enough. Look at me now. I'm the only one on the main roster." Said that to Stone Cold. Whether that story's true or not, that is a dangerous thing to do, especially for somebody who's, first of all, a dancer. And second of all, someone who is a dancer, and that's it. So
Hold on. I gotta do this.
Go ahead.
Hold me closer, tiny dancer.
It's karaoke hour.
Is she the one on the left or the right? Because they never seem to switch sides. So.
she would be the one on the right.
Oh yeah. They're no good.
No, because Naomi knows how to
work it.
Yeah. But yeah,
Did you say twerk it?
yeah,
I said work it.
Twerk it.
You said work it. He said twerk it. I was like, wow, Eddie, you've been in the club, and now on stage 2, Cinnamon.
Put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it.
Smack it up, flip it, rub it down. Oh no, look at that booty.
Ooh-wee.
Where's a good Nelly song when you need one?
No.
Dude, no. The AC/DC remix of Work It by Nelly with Justin Timberlake doesn't suck. It's not his greatest song, of course.
No, Justin Timberlake doesn't suck. Justin Timberlake is the Prince of Pop. But, anyways, about that break.
Yes, as in the top of the hour break.
The top of the hour break.
Let's
right
go.
Here in Casey Kasem.
Brought to you
Thanks.
by Whataburger. Whataburger giving Maybo gas since 5 o'clock this afternoon.
5:03 to be exact. Son of Oh, good.
Do you guys realize we are now Joey Image approved? I saw that Joey Image had tweeted that the show, so there you go. Right now we have 1,004 trolls following us, I'm sure, and 800 more listeners. So thanks, you guys.
Not a problem, Joey. We appreciate you, brother. Always great to hear from you, even though I never hear from you anymore because you're always got.
He's selling T-shirts. Leave him alone.
Joey selling T-shirts?
That's what Italian heroes do. They steal pizzas from 4-year-olds and sell T-shirts.
I didn't get the memo about the T-shirts. I got the memo about the pizza. It's like taking candy from a baby.
No, it's like taking pizza from a baby.
Unless you're Jimmy. Unless you're Jimmy Fallon trying to convince that kid in the toddler chair that you want to save money.
Silent library. Silent library.
There you go. Speaking of, let's library our asses to the top of the hour. We'll be back in just a few right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
Dave,
Turn
what are
the
you
page.
doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck for Dave 2037 so he can buy anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman. What are you getting Steve 2037?
Steve 2037 will be just fine.
Well, okay, but don't expect to borrow my anti-gravity boots.
Save something for the future. Put away a few bucks. Feel like $1 million. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
This is Awesome Austin Creed, the smartest man in this industry called pro wrestling, the valedictorian of this business. You are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
While cutting molding with a 12-inch dual compound miter saw, while holding a newborn baby in your arms, when face-to-face with a congregation of alligators, with the ball in your hands and the entire freaking season on the line.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting, so why would you do it while driving? NASCAR driver Casey Kane here, asking you to please stop the text, and together we can stop the wrecks.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Get the message at stoptextstopwrecks.org.
This is Gabe Sapolsky from Dragon Gate USA and Evolve Pro Wrestling, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
Hey, what's up? Holla at ya, boy. XOXOXO. You getting these texts? Question mark. Where are you? What are you doing? OMG, you are making me mad. You better text me back. I'm waiting outside your house.
Relentless, aggressive texting is like sending an angry robot to deliver your message. When does the robot become dangerous? Let us know at that'snotcool.com.
That'snotcool.com.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
This is Jim Cornette. You are locked into the show of all time, Beyond Ringside.
Remember when your neighbor found us naked in the car, and the time some outdoor action got us kicked out of the park, getting frisky in the dark. I gave your eye a poke. Think the dog is in the bed too. I smell smoke. You and me, we never give up. You and me, we never ever ever give up. Getting hot and heavy with the whipped cream that we bought, and dressing in the kitchen, then getting caught. So many things can go wrong, but we still can get it right. You and me, we're not gonna give up tonight.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Visit bedsider.org to compare all the choices and put the bogus myths to bed at bedsider.org.
Boy, we got options tonight.
Brought to you by Bedsider and the Ad Council. Bedsider.org.
I'm Paul Ellering, and you're locked into Beyond the Ringside.
Let me try.
Okay, just remember what I showed you.
Yep. There was a bunny who had one big ear and another big ear. They looped-a-looped, made a bow, and the bunny hopped away. I did it!
Oh, good job, kiddo. Now let's tie your other shoe.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 1-877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Listen up, this is the NWA North American Heavyweight Champion, the Temptation Sean Tempers, and right now, you are locked in with Beyond Ringside.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
This is Ben Masters locking it down with Beyond Ringside. Don't miss it. Be there.
Confessions of a Potentially Perfect Parent, brought to you by AdoptUsKids.org.
I don't know how to talk like a parent. Don't make me come back there. You see what I mean? It's pretty awful. Try it again. Don't make me come back there. Now that's pretty good. That one kind of sounded like my dad. Weird.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit AdoptUsKids.org for more information. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is GCW's senior official Bernie Kowanowitz, and you are locked into Beyond Ringside.
Hi, this is Joe Perry and Steven Tyler of Aerosmith for Red. You know, it's okay to rock and roll and party down. Just don't get in that 2,000-pound bullet when you're done and cocked. And please don't drink and drive. I'm the one that jaded you.
A reminder that friends don't let friends drive drunk. A public service message brought to you by the Ad Council, U.S. Department of Transportation, National Association of Broadcasters, and RAD.
This is Bad Brad Armstrong, part of the famous Armstrong family of professional wrestling, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
You must be your fairy godmother. Yes.
It doesn't take a fairy godmother to tell you that the right fit means everything.
Good heavens, child. You can't go in that.
Children under 4'9" need to be in a booster seat because they aren't ready for adult safety belts alone. Remember that 4'9" is the magic number, and get your little pumpkin there safely in a booster seat.
Oh, thank you.
For more information, visit boosterseat.gov. This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
This is Dale the Demon Torborg, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Welcome to the original Rockin' Wrestling Radio Show. Welcome to Beyond Ringside, your source for wrestling, MMA, and boxing in the Southeast. To contact the Ringside Roundtable of Beyond Ringside, email them at beyondringside@gmail.com. And now, your host for Beyond Ringside, the man, no myth, all legend, Fast Eddie Lane.
The music plays, the microphones go hot, and we are live on a Sunday night. Welcome into your home for wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. This is Beyond Ringside. Thank you, Mike Macaroni, for the introduction. Always a great pleasure to hear the dulcet tones of the cheesiest announcer in the business. Like to welcome in tag team partners Mark Mabo Bowman.
If I die from ink poisoning, Eddie knows why.
There you go. Like to welcome in tag team partner, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis.
September 8th.
Dude, you got a lot going on. And speaking of, I'd like to welcome in our very special guest at this time, and I hope I pronounced his name right the first time, and I hope I get it right this time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's First and 10 with Mr. Touchdown, Mark Angelosetti. Mark, glad to have you on Beyond Ringside.
Oh, thanks, man. What's up to all my nerds listening in tonight?
Did I get the name right, by the way?
Yeah, you got it right.
Hey, I got.
If you would have got it wrong, I'd have stopped you right away.
Hey, cool. No, actually, I depend on that, and I appreciate it, too. Now, Mark is one of the stars with right now featured especially with Chikara Pro Wrestling. Before we get directly into that, actually, let's take it back a little bit. If I could, please, let's do a rewind. And tell everybody a little bit about Mark Angelosetti, Mr. Touchdown.
Well, I started playing football as a really young kid. I was great at it, all through grade school. High school came. I had my problems on the field with some of the other players. I was a little unnecessarily rough with them at practice and whatnot. But I fought for my spot. in the team. And when it came time to go to college, none of the teams really wanted to take me. I guess because I was a little rough, the coaches didn't recommend me to anybody. So I decided to get into professional wrestling. That being said, I started training at the Chikara Wrestle Factory out in Philadelphia, where it was located before the arena shut down. And, now they're located in Huntington Valley, which is in Pennsylvania. Shortly after I started training, fast forward here to January of 2012, my step-cousin-in-law, Dasher Hatfield, he introduced me to the crowd, and they like me. I know they do deep down inside. So that's where I got the debut for Chikara, and, as the months went on, I started making a name for myself, defeating guys like, Jigsaw, getting in the ring with Colt Cabana. Dasher and myself went one-on-one with the Chikara Tag Team Champion, the Young Bucks. I definitely established myself right there at Chikara. So, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Bring you up to date?
Yeah. And actually, that takes me to our signature question, the one that I always like to find out because everybody's got a little bit of a different story. There are two moments for all of us in the world of pro wrestling. And the first moment is when you genuinely really become a fan of the business of professional wrestling. The second moment is when that little light bulb goes off over your head and you sit back and go, I really got to do this. For you, what are those two moments?
Well, funny story. I remember as a kid, I turned on the TV and I saw Kane beating up Mankind. And I watched for a couple minutes as it went on. From there, I had to turn the TV off because I was a little bit frightened by everything that was going on. And that was my first taste of professional wrestling. And at that time, I knew what a Stone Cold and what a Rock is. And from there, I kind of followed their storyline the most. I would say around, I want to say maybe June, July 1998, right around the whole SummerSlam thing that was coming up, Rock and Triple H, the ladder match, and Stone Cold versus The Undertaker. I remember that was the main focus on every Raw episode. And then when I decided I wanted to really pursue this as a career, I was young. I was 8th grade, maybe 14, 15 years old. I started working out because I realized that, the wrestlers had muscles and, I'm not just going to grow up and look like a man one day. I actually have to do something about it. So I started working out and started on my bedroom floor working out with a bar. And my elbows couldn't go much past my back, on a bench press. So from there, I got my first weight set, and I just lifted hard and heavy as I could until I graduated high school. And from there, I started my career.
Okay. Mark Bowman, come on board with Mark Angelosetti.
Now, you are indeed part of the roster of Chikara, and to say that Chikara is a little different from your normal wrestling company is it's saying something.
It's like me saying I'm normal.
Yes, exactly. So, how when you first joined on with Chikara, how did you find this? How did you find this not so normal cast of characters?
Can you ask that question again?
Yeah, basically, when you joined Chikara, how did you feel about this not so normal cast of characters?
I didn't, I don't know, man. I was entertained by the fact that there were all these different characters and it actually meant something. You guys have been around the business long enough to know that you go to every town and there's, 15 local hometown heroes in the locker room that all look the same, all talk the same, and all have the same characters. So I enjoyed it. It actually made me a fan of their product, the Chikara product, because they're so diverse. And I wouldn't say that they're different unless you want to compare a boring indie group to Chikara, because Chikara is a lot more entertaining than going to your local show where it's just two guys beating each other up. I look at it like Pokemon. You guys remember Pokemon?
Very well.
So it's like you throw a Pokeball in the ring, and you throw another Pokeball in the ring, and out comes Fire Ant and Mr. Touchdown, right?
Right.
So you got Fire Ant. If you've ever been bitten by one of those, I mean, it burns, and you're going to be itching for days. So you get a Fire Ant, and you get a dude, a massive jock who just plays football, and then it comes and the magic happens inside the ring. Fire Ant, he's hard to catch, but Mr. Touchdown, I've caught some of the fastest football players known to date, and tackled them right to the ground. So it's a game pretty much of cat and mouse, when it comes to something like that. Or, bet you throw a Pokeball out there and you get a Sarah Del Rey. And then you throw another Pokeball out there and you get an Eddie Kingston. The queen of wrestling versus, basically the king of wrestling right now.
Right.
In Eddie Kingston. So, I mean, yeah, it's different, but it makes you a fan because it's so different. If that kind of sums it up for you, because like I said, there's a lot of places that you can go and it's the same old. You've seen it before with Chikara. If it's a match that has never happened before, you're guaranteed to see something different and new.
And they have some tremendous talents under the banner of Chikara. And with everything from the Young Lions Cup to King of Trios to everything including Kaiju Big Battle, and it is so diverse and so open. Pardon the footballism, but the playing field is so open and so diverse. It does do a great job of not only keeping people smiling and coming back for more, but it also keeps them guessing to a great degree. It's like, what are they going to come up with next? And I think that is part of the fun, if not probably 1/3 of the fun, with following Chikara like a lot of us have over the years. Wicked Nemesis, come on in with Mark Angelosetti.
Okay, you're talking about Pokemon, you talk about football. Why did you want to get into the business itself?
Why? Probably because I've been such a fan of it for a long time, and I don't really foresee myself being good at many things. I like to think that I'm good at professional wrestling. I like to hear the crowd. Is like, for instance, I'm coming to the ring, or they're yelling that they hate me, or they're cheering that they love me. It's that kind of stuff. Just being able to work with the crowd and entertain people. Because I can remember back when I was a kid and my dad bought his first video camera. Like the only thing I ever wanted to do was to jump in front of it while he was filming, whether he's showing you the construction that he's doing around the house and you see me jump out of the corner, like, doing kicks and, throwing punches and pretending to be like some sort of superhero. So yeah, I just really wanted to entertain people for the longest time, and that was my outlet. I didn't want to be an actor. I don't want to be a singer. I don't want that crap. This is what I like. It's everything wrapped into one.
Hey, you say that crap. Those people entertain too now. Hold on.
Or at least they try to.
they do entertain, but that's in their own category of work. No, you can't compare pro wrestling to anything else in the world right now. You can't even compare it with UFC. It's its own product.
Yeah, and from that vantage point is a case of we have a tendency to not cancel events. No, now, there have been some that have over the years, but unfortunately, what was it, UFC 151 had to bow out gracefully because of the situation in the main event, and Dana White said, okay, we'll just start working on 152, and we've got the Ultimate Fighter coming up soon. So
well, hold on now. If you can compare wrestling to Pokemon, you can damn sure compare it to MMA and to other stuff going on. Because a lot of the wrestling is either outlaw or it's a soap opera. There's not many people that want to be just wrestlers. Now everybody wants to just entertain. Nobody wants to be larger than life anymore. Nobody wants to be considered a god. Everybody wants to hurt somebody, which is what they do in MMA. Everybody wants to just entertain, which is what people in music and in movies do. And then people want to go out and then people, well, I'm just a fan of it. Well, then be a fan of it. That's why.
Yeah, and
you compare it to Pokemon, so I was like, wait, well, at least we can compare it to MMA.
Yeah, but this is the thing, though, too. Like, I don't watch MMA, so my argument would be very, very small because I truly, honestly, do not watch MMA. It doesn't even have my attention. Like the Ultimate Fighter on TV, none of that has my attention.
But you know it exists.
I know it exists. I mean,
like, I've never seen an episode of Pokemon, but I mean, I know it exists.
Well, because how old are you?
I'm 32.
I'm 32. I'm 24. So I mean, Pokemon was out when I was a kid. So I mean, that's how I can compare it to Pokemon. You might be able to, I don't even know what was around in your time.
I compare it to
Mortal
Kaiju
Kombat.
Big Battle because that's the greatest ever. Kaiju Big Battle. I'm sorry, that is the greatest thing ever. You ever thought about beating Kaiju Big Battle? Are you a fan of Kaiju Big Battle? Since I mean, you're in the distant cousin promotion, I guess if you want to say that. Maybe cousin promotion.
I am not going to lie and say I'm a fan of them or anything. I don't know anything about them.
Okay.
So that's the truth. I can't even speak of them because I don't know anything about them.
Okay. Now, if I may, taking a slightly different turn, speaking of something you do have a lot of knowledge about, the Young Lions Cup 2012, because you are the winner of the Young Lions Cup.
That's right.
Now,
That's right. What do you want to know?
Now, first off, from what I've always understood, it is there is a cutoff point for a certain length of time that somebody's in the industry. And Young Lions Cup attracts some of the brightest young talent from not only around the lower 48, but from around the world. And I know that we've had a number of people with whom we're associated compete in the Young Lions Cup over the last few years. When you get a chance to, and when you entered into the tournament this year, and you saw the names that were coming in, what's going through your mind as you read over the list of names and people that you're going to take, say, in first-round matchups, and then you make it all the way to the finals of the Young Lions Cup? What goes through your mind when you see that?
Well, I see a reason to be competitive, and some people can sit there and argue and say wrestling is not a competitive sport, but to me it is. It was very competitive because I knew once I saw all the names that were coming in, before I even knew anything about the first round matches, and I see all these people submitting and trying to get into the tournament themselves. Like, I know that there's a world out there, and there's thousands of people who are gunning for my spot. Right. So, that being said, once the first round matches were set, and there's 4 four-ways, so it came down to 16 people. Any one of those 16 people were talented enough to be the Young Lions Cup champion. I can't say it's the luck of the draw. I can't say it was where we were seated in our spots, but I will say this: every one of those matches was one of the toughest matches of my entire career. Now I know normally the tournament happens all in one night. Luckily, for the competitors and the people who moved on round around, that we had some time to really get our focus back in the game. Because there comes a time in your first round match where I know it happened with me. I was in the ring with a guy named Brian Rush. He's from NYWC, and I'm in the ring with him, and there came a spot where I almost thought I lost the match. And it was 1, 2. Oh, he almost got me. Thank God I checked out, because if I didn't, it would have been over for me, and he would have advanced. So it gives you some time to collect yourselves again, so you're able to be prepared for your next match. Now I do know, the semifinals and the finals. Since I wrestled in both of them, I know, we were in Milwaukee, and I had to face Anthony Stone. Again, the same thing happens. You think you're going to lose, but somehow you pull it out. You dig deep. I put in all that time training and all that time in the gym, and sticking to a straight diet. Like, I didn't want to lose. So I dug deep enough to make sure that I didn't lose, and I walked out of that building a winner. Because I knew the very next day, the very next night in Indianapolis, that I was going to have to wrestle in the finals, the tournament. You know, and that, with all the pressure and, you know, all the eyes are on you, you know, that's a lot to take in. And then to have to stand out there and know that you've got to wrestle now, and you've got to defeat your opponent, or, you know, coming in second place doesn't mean crap. You know, like, I don't want to be second. I didn't put all the time in the training. I didn't put, you know, since I was a young kid, you know, since I was 14, 15 years old working out on my bedroom floor. I didn't put that in to lose. I put it in to win. So, again, I dug really deep during that match because, you know, I was wrestling ACH. You guys know who ACH is?
Yes.
He is one heck of a performer, one great athlete. So, I mean, it couldn't have come down to two better athletes in the finals there. And, you know, I really had to show him that I wanted it more. And that's really what it came down to. Finally, when the referee, his hands slapped the mat for 3, I honestly, I felt so relieved. And, you know, I didn't care that, you know, all these people are watching me now. Like, the pressure was gone. It was just, okay, maybe go out and have some ice cream tonight, you know. Relax a little bit. It was a very exciting moment. And it was a very exciting tournament, being able to sit and watch and try to scout your opponents. You know, like I said, you don't know who it's going to be, okay, until they advance. There's 16 of them. So it was one heck of a tournament, you know, and I'll say that, you know, the two guys that could have went either way in the finals, myself and ACH, you know, luckily I came out on top. So,
and actually, I'm going to take your answer on that one, the final part of your answer, and transpose it to an answer that to a question that Wicked put out there. Because when you talk about the training, the dedication, the staying focused in this business to be the absolute best, and taking that to the Young Lions Cup, that is something that we all work to do, is to be the absolute very best in this business. And you proved it all the way through that tournament by winning the Young Lions Cup. Today is English optional. I'll be doing the rest of the show in Morse code if that's okay with y'all. Now, one thing I wanted to ask, taking a look at the combination that's going to be going into King of Trios, and I'm not totally segueing in that direction yet, but you made the reference to the relation to Dasher Hatfield. As you're getting ready to make your foray into Chikara, how much, I'm going to use the term that everybody likes to use on Wall Street, how much insider trading was really there between you and Hatfield? How much of a scouting report, considering you're Mr. Touchdown and he is the equivalent of Mr. Baseball? And so you know that there had to be a little bit of insider trading there. He gave you that scouting report. He gave you the field report. But how much was there?
You know, I can tell you this. You're talking about King of Trios now, or?
We can make our way in that direction, but I was wondering, as you were making your way into Chikara, into active competition.
Into Chikara. Well, it basically came down to, you know, Mrs. Hatfield. She likes me. You know, I don't know if you guys have ever watched Supper with the Hatfields, which is on the Wrestling Is channel. She likes me, and I know a couple of her sisters have a thing for me, so it was like, for me to get into Chikara, I kind of had to buddy up with Dasher a little bit more than I normally do. He didn't know we were family at first. I had to dig through some records, and once I told him, look, man, we're family, you know, bring me into Chikara. I deserve to be there. You and I can go further than you and Sugar Dunkerton. I mean, he must have known right then and there it was a no-brainer. And he doesn't have a very big brain to begin with inside of that baseball. So, I mean, to sit there and, you know, you could say that there's maybe some differences because he's, you know, I'm Mr. Touchdown. He's the equivalent to Mr. Baseball. Let's just face the facts. More people watch football and care about football than they watch baseball. So, bringing me in, I'm basically the self-appointed coach of the Throwbacks, the captain of the Throwbacks. I call the shots. I tell him what's going to happen. I know he likes to think because he's the king of swing, that he gets to throw his weight around a little bit here and there. But at the end of the day, Hatfield's listening to me.
Mark Bowman, come on in with Mark Angelosetti.
Now, how have things changed for you since you have become the Young Lions Cup champion?
Well, not much has changed. I still, I don't know if you guys have mentioned this earlier, but you need to defend the Young Lions Cup for an entire year. So, that being said, I could lose it at any moment.
Right.
Anytime I have a match, I could lose it. So, I still have to train hard. It's not like I'm getting, people who want me to audition for movies now. Like, there is no glamour like that. I got a bullseye on my back now. I got people who don't like me and people who want to take that cup away from me. And I can't let that happen. So I have to up my training. I have to start working out a little bit harder. I need to be in the ring 4 or 5 times a week. I don't want to lose that cup. So that's the only thing that has changed. I kind of got my guard up a little bit. I know in wrestling, you don't have very many friends, and I almost guarantee it now that since I am the Young Lions Cup champion, that I don't have very many friends at all. I know a lot of the guys think I'm a jerk and I am a jock, and I'm a little bit loud and whatnot. And I'm sure they'd want nothing more than to take my championship away from me. I mean, just like with any sport or any competition, people don't want you to be champion. They want it for themselves.
Now,
and that's how I became the Young Lions. I wanted it for myself. And I want to stay the Young Lions Cup champion. And I don't want people to take it away.
Now, this leads me... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that's what's changed. My guard's up.
And you bring up the factor of the Lions Cup always being in play. Now, if I remember correctly, isn't it 3 years is the cutoff in Young Lions? 3 years pro?
What's that?
3 years pro or less?
I know it used to be, because I talked with Icarus.
Right.
Him and I are buddies. And he said back in the day, it used to be like you had to have under so many matches.
Right.
It may have been like you had to be under 200 matches or something like that. Now I know it's age 25.
Okay.
That's what I know, is that as of now, if you're over the age of 25, you do not qualify.
Okay. Because I remember they've had different things at different points, and unfortunately I don't get a chance to keep up as much as I would like to. So I know at one point it was a certain number of matches. At another point it was 3 years and or less in the industry that you could prove. And from that vantage point, age also came into play. And when you make the reference to it constantly being on the line, I didn't know if there was a qualification in there to where if you were in there with somebody who had more experience or who was over the age of 25, just in case 27, if that person scored the win, would the Young Lions Cup go to them would that technicality come into play?
I would hope that technicality come into play, because if it didn't, then I'd be one upset touchdown, and I wouldn't have my trophy to walk around with. But I guess we'll have to find out in due time. From all I know, it's the age of 25 is the cutoff point.
Okay.
So that takes a little bit of pressure off me, but not a lot, because there's a lot of hungry young lions out there.
Now, before I throw to Wicked Nemesis, I would like to ask, you are of course Mr. Touchdown. Now, remembering the fact that you can score a touchdown on defense just as quickly as you can offense, which side of the ball do you prefer to work on?
Oh, good question. I like to be in control of things. So I'd say offense, but when it comes to defense, I'm very good at scouting my opponents. So, I can catch them, off guard at any moment. So I want them to think they got it in and they're going to get it, and then bam, done. Tackled to the ground right before they get to the end zone.
Wicked Nemesis, come on in with Mr. Touchdown.
Who were your biggest influences in football and in wrestling?
in football, it would be Terrell Owens, Tim Tebow, and way back in the day, I liked Emmitt Smith. Now, with wrestling, it's a little bit different. We got Stone Cold Steve Austin, huge fan of his. Triple H, and I want to say The Rock, probably the three most entertaining people at one time on the pro. So there was no reason not to tune in every week. You knew if those three names were, you were going to be entertained. Those are my three big influences in wrestling, and my other three were football.
Now, before we take it and tackle, so to speak, KOT, I know that was bad. Mark, you don't have to grimace. I mean, Mempho, that is. I'm sorry. We kind of spoke a little bit about it off air. Hold on. Mempho, come on in. You got that look on your face.
Yeah, like I've been dying. I want to ask Mr. Touchdown about a certain someone. He might know whose it is. It would be Chikara's own marching majorette, Veronica. And, of course, Archibald Peck. Like to enlighten us about that situation?
You said you had a question. What's your question?
The question is how could you live with yourself stealing that man's woman?
Listen, she didn't have a ring on her finger. I did nothing wrong. I showed up to Chikara and I was myself. I can't help that chicks dig me. I can't help that when it comes to majorettes, standing on the sidelines there, watching me make my plays day in and day out at Chikara, I can't help that they can't take their eyes off of me. That's not my problem. Archibald Peck, it was his problem for messing with me. It was his problem to stick his nose into my business with Veronica. Yeah, there may have been a little something going on between us. Then Archibald had to go and make it personal. And on June 2nd, if you remember How to Hatch a Dinosaur, live on iPay-per-view, Go Fight Live, I took it to Archibald Peck. And I sent him packing in a loser leaves town match when, like I said earlier, it all comes down to how bad you want it. And I wanted Veronica. She knew that I wanted her, and Veronica wanted me. So the laws of attraction brought us together. And with that being said, when that brought us together, there was something that had to go. Something that had to leave, and Archibald Peck was that thing that had to leave. So I defeated him. Well, I shouldn't say I defeated him. Dasher Hatfield defeated him, which is even more of an embarrassment. So, to be honest with you, there is no Archibald Peck anymore. He's gone. He's never coming back. Veronica is going to be around my arm and underneath of my Letterman's jacket for good. And that's all there is to it.
Mempho?
I just, I kept my eye on that story throughout the year, and I mean, it's no secret you have your issues with whom you call nerds. But I mean,
are you upset because you are a nerd?
Oh, I'm not a nerd. I'm a geek. There's a difference. Nerds are smart. I'm not that smart.
Hold on. You're not saying it right. Nerd!
And that was the actual payoff that we were waiting on. As I was setting it up, I was waiting on Wicked to bust out the nerds. But I mean, I know your typical, your typical jocks have issues with those who they deem inferior to themselves. But I don't know. It's just you could have just beat him up and stuffed him in a locker. You didn't have to take his woman. I mean, come on.
Like I said, I didn't take her. The laws of attraction brought us together for the summer of love.
You didn't hear that, man, Mempho? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's what this came to, is the summer of love. Archibald Peck and Veronica, they weren't in love. Veronica and myself, we were in love. And that's the difference.
Well, now...
Let me ask you, it's Marco, right? Markbo or something like that, right?
Mempho.
Mempho. Oh, I got it. It's Mempho. All right. So, let's just say you're with this girl, right? And I know you probably haven't been with many of women in your lifetime, but let's just say you were with one right now, okay? And you got this other hot chick who's looking your way, who's doing all this incredible stuff, right? And she's got a thing for you, okay? You've got a thing for her. You're not married. You're not so happy with the girl you're with right now. She's doing bad things. She's not, making enough money, putting enough food on the table. Whatever it is, it is. Now, are you going to sit there and be unhappy with the girl you've been with? Or are you going to go out and find a new life with a winner and a champion with the new girl who's doing all those things to be successful? What are you going to do?
And that's why I married the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders.
Well, to be honest there, Mr. Touchdown, I've never had a relationship last more than 2 months, so I can't really say anything.
I believe that.
Hey, dude, I'm not...
Were you dumped on every single one of them?
Except for the one where it involved...
the MasterCard running out?
Yes, the MasterCard running out.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward there. But, well, are a little bit of a question here, and this is going to be a follow-up. Are you and Veronica still currently together?
Of course we're together.
Well, now, I'm not one to start any trouble. Yes, I am. But you may or may not have heard, and I saw the pictures, not trying to play TMZ here, but I did see her hanging out with the Batiri, I believe, over in AIW this weekend, maybe last weekend, just saying. And, those are some weird cats. You know this from personal experience. There's some weird cats, man. Did you know about this, and how comfortable do you feel about it?
I saw the picture, too. And you're the first one to ask me. Veronica has kept it a secret. Veronica aligns herself with winners. Do I think there's something going on between her and the Batiri? No. There's 3 of them and 1 of her. And that's an ugly, ugly, ugly picture and an ugly child, okay? But let's think about this. Veronica aligns herself with winners. So it makes sense to align yourself with the Batiri, okay? But let me just put this out there. If it ever came down to the throwbacks and the captain of the throwbacks being Mr. Touchdown versus the Batiri, okay? Whether it's Udama, Kodama, Joe Mama, whatever it is, something with green face paint all over them and can't even talk and their breath smells like poo, okay? So it comes down, that's the matchup. Veronica will be in my corner because she aligns herself with winners and she knows, the Batiri might be successful right now in AIW, but if Touchdown were ever to make his way out to AIW, it would be a completely different story. Because I wouldn't need a championship around my waist to be successful. I'll just start winning matches the same way I did in Chikara until I start working my way to the top. And Veronica knows this about me. Therefore, I don't think, there's anything going on. There's no reason for me to be worried. I know Veronica's intentions in this business. Veronica is my girlfriend. I love Veronica. And Veronica, if you're listening right now, I just want to let you know that there's no tension between us whatsoever, and I can't believe this Mempho nerd even asked that question.
Now, wait a minute. I have to say this. As a representative of Nerds Worldwide, which one I have been for ever since high school, we did not include Mempho in that fraternity of nerds. He is the geek, as of which he stated, because I am one who actually was the band nerd who also played football. So, speaking of...
Geeks, nerds, dweebs, they're all the same, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty much.
Except dorks. We don't include dorks. Dorks are...
No dorks are allowed.
We don't even like dorks.
No.
No dorks.
No dorks. They have their own side of the... They go play on that other part of the playground.
They got their own short bus.
Yeah. Dude, leave my short bus out of this.
Anyway.
It's custom made.
I know. I like the rims on it.
With the lightning stripe on the side.
Yes.
Speaking of lightning... Take the intro.
Well, didn't you want to cover the King of Trios first?
I was going to do Lightning Round, then cover King of Trios, but let's cover King of Trios first. And we're making a reference to that possible matchup between the Throwbacks and the Batiri. It could happen. September 14, 15, and 16, 2012 at the Palmer Center, 4100 Green Pond Road in Easton, Pennsylvania. Chikara Pro Wrestling proudly presents the 2012 King of Trios competition. It is a trios tag tournament involving some of the brightest stars in not only Chikara, but worldwide in the world of professional wrestling. This is going to be a 3-night event, including the 5th annual Fan Conclave, which is an event that has taken on a life of its own in more ways than one, where you get a chance to meet and hang out with the majority of, if not almost all, of the stars of Chikara and everybody involved in the King of Trios. Now, our guest at this time, Mr. Touchdown, Mark Angelosetti, is the captain of the team known as the Throwbacks. We've already made a reference to one of his tag team partners, and that would be the King of Swing, Dasher Hatfield. And you've also got, as it is a trios tournament matchup, you've got a third member of that team. Would you like to go ahead and enlighten everybody?
Yeah, our third member of the team, he's also the second string player of our team, Matt Classic.
Now, when you had the opportunity and when you found out about the pairings, as the Throwbacks came together, you, Dasher, and Matt Classic, I asked a similar question. Knowing the ties that bind, even in distant family, and you add Matt Classic to the mix on that, what is your mindset going into KOT with the combination that you have?
I'm very confident going into the King of Trios. Reason being, I mean, I should have no reason not to be confident. I am the captain of the team. I'm the first string of the team, which means I'm going to start the match out. We got Matt Classic as the second string, and we've got, Dasher Hatfield as third string. Now, no disrespect to their abilities, they are not Mr. Touchdown. They are not the current Young Lions Cup champion. Oh, did I mention I'm the Young Lions Cup champion? I think we talked about that earlier, right? So, I have no reason not to be confident going into this tournament. I plan on going through night one, destroying Team JWP, and making their trip here to America completely worthless. Night two, whoever we've got in our second round match, I'm going to destroy them too, and then I'm going to show Dasher and Matt Classic why I am the Young Lions Cup champion and why I am the Gridiron Grappler, the pigskin player, and most importantly, the intersection of perfection there at Chikara. And I'm going to make sure I get the pinfall in the finals of the King of Trios.
Now, go ahead.
Making the Throwbacks the 2012 King of Trios.
Now, before we go a little bit deeper into the matchups, I do want to ask this question. Considering that you are so fresh in Chikara, and noting the level of experience with Dasher Hatfield and Matt Classic, how much did the shoulder pad swell and the helmet swell when you were named and when you took on the role of team captain?
Well, it actually happened like this. It was the very first day of practice. We had Matt Classic and Dasher Hatfield sitting on the bench. I'm sitting in a chair talking to them. I said, who should make themselves captain? As Matt Classic was looking around like an idiot luchador that he is, or whatever the heck he is underneath of that mask, he's looking around, looking up, looking down, looking at Dasher, looking at me. Dasher Hatfield shaking his head because he knows that he doesn't handle pressure well. So I stood up and said, I'll be the captain. I will be the captain. We had this argument, and it came down to the best 2 out of 3. You guys would probably call it 2 out of 3 falls. Where the first fall was rock, paper, scissors. Okay? Rock, paper, scissors. Because at this point, I'm going to be captain, right? Dasher now decides he wants to be captain, and that Classic, he's just out there. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll be captain too then, I guess. Right? So we're sitting there. It came down to play rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors comes around, and Dasher Hatfield wins that one. Okay, he's very quick with his hands on that. And then it came to drawing a straw. Okay, whoever had the shortest straw lost. Dasher Hatfield indeed lost that one, and I had the longest straw. Now the third and final round, and if you're keeping notes right now, Matt Classic has nothing.
Right.
Matt Classic has nothing. The very third and final fall, and we had a tiebreaker if it would have came down to a tiebreaker. Who could eat their bowl of Captain Crunch the fastest? and I'll let you guess who that was. I'll give you about 3 seconds.
Mr. Touchdown.
It was indeed Mr. Touchdown. I drank the milk. There was no cereal stuck to the side of my bowl, and my bowl of Captain Crunch was empty, thus making me the captain of the throwbacks for the King of Trios.
And remember, Captain Crunch is a viable part of this nutritious breakfast. Now, taking a...
Well, I typically don't eat Captain Crunch, but I can eat pretty fast.
There you go. Taking a look at some of the other teams that are involved in this. Now, your first round matchup is Team JWP, Commando Bolshoi, I hope I get it right, Tsubasa Koragaki, and Kaori Yoniyama. I mean, you've got... I've noticed this, and this is something I really want to hit on, a major influx. I've watched KOT over the last few years, and I've noticed a major influx of ladies' talent this year in particular, and the throwbacks taking on Team JWP. Is there a little bit of a curiosity on your part about how things are going to match up?
Well, like I said earlier, I'm confident that I'm going to go through this tournament. We're going to have our problems along the way, but we will come out victorious. Now I know, with Dasher, he's not the type of guy to hit a woman. When we went over this to practice, Matt Classic, yeah, he's kind of on the fence about everything, but I'll go in there and I'll smack those chicks from JWP around, and I'll show them that here in America, the only name you need to recognize professional wrestling is Mr. Touchdown. See, I can defeat all 3 of them by myself. If it actually came down to it, to say that, how is it going to match up? And I guess it probably match up like this. I'm going to get in the ring. I'm going to start the match. Okay. One of the team JWP is going to decide who they want to start the match. Obviously, it's going to be the one who has the hots for me the most. They're going to come to the middle of the ring, and they're going to fall over because Mr. Touchdown is so damn hot. Okay, they're just going to fall over and pass out from heat exhaustion. And I'm just going to sneak over and get the cover. 1, 2, 3. All the ladies love me. You think they want to fight me? You think they want to wrestle me? No, not going to happen.
Which leads in some interesting questions, because I'm just wondering if the women are that attracted to you, are they likely to fumble in this circumstance? Are you going to be strong enough to push them all the way back for a safety? Are you going to be distracted by a backfield in motion, or are you going to be guilty of an incomplete forward pass? Wicked Nemesis, come on in real quick. Yeah, you got to follow 4 football references.
Yeah, that was 1st and 10. Do it again.
Go ahead.
Really quick, before we get into our favorite. Is there any team that maybe you're looking to that you see like these guys could give us problems? Any of the teams?
I would say. Oh, we got a playbook out. All right. I have the teams highlighted, the faces of pain. And that's the Warlord, the Barbarian, and Mang.
Right.
Team WWF, 123 Kid, Aldo Montoya, and Tatanka. Then the Extreme Trio, which would be Too Cold Scorpio, Jerry Lynn, and Tommy Dreamer.
Right.
So those are the 3 teams that I've got my eyes on the most. They have the most experience in the most places around the world. That I noticed that, hey, these guys could be a threat, thus we get in the ring with them.
Mabo, come on in.
Now, it's in the title of the current trophy you hold, Young. Do you think that with Dasher Hatfield being as old as he is and Matt Classic being even older, do you think that they're really going to honestly take direction from such, I guess to put it in Matt Classic's terminology, such a young whippersnapper?
Well, I don't see that they're going to have any problem taking directions and orders from me. I mean, because I know how things work nowadays. Okay, I know that sometimes you don't play clean to win. Okay, and I know all the other teams are probably plotting ways that they could just scoot on by the throwbacks, because I'm going to go out there and say this. We're the biggest threat in this tournament thus far. With all the big names and all the people coming in from all over the world, the greatest wrestlers of all time, you could say, those guys coming in, they don't hold a flame to Mr. Mr. Touchdown, I'm sorry. Because I am a torch, and that's for sure. So, that being said, I don't know. I honestly, I don't think they're going to have a problem taking, orders from me and listening to me. I put them through some serious, intense training. You'll notice Dasher Hatfield, his arms are getting a little bigger. He's hitting home runs more than he normally hits. Matt Classic has dropped a couple pounds. His amateur wrestling skill and his mat wrestling skill has just been unbelievable since he started training with me. So I don't think they're going to have a problem taking orders from me. Thus far, I've got them some pretty great results.
Do me a favor. We're running short on time. We're coming to, the hour has flown by. And first off, Mark, thank you for being so gracious with your time. I do want to get this in the short version of the lightning round. If you've got a couple of seconds, we're going to run it for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry about me. I got all the time in the world. Right now, I just got WWE Falls Count Anywhere on Netflix. Just paused in the background.
So you're saying this is a 2-minute drill?
Yeah, I got time.
All right. Well, Mr. Touchdown, I've screwed up the intro.
Yes, you have.
This is the White Lightning Tim Horner, Lightning Mike Quackenbush, Jushin Thunder Liger lightning round. Mr. Touchdown, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Mempho.
More hotly anticipated video game every year, NCAA or Madden?
Madden.
Wicked.
Okay. Steroids in wrestling have their place or need to be erased?
They need to be erased for sure. That's true.
Which personal foul are you going to be called for against Team JWP? Piling on or illegal use of the hands?
Maybe piling on.
Mempho.
The Icky Shuffle or Tebowing, which is Mr. Touchdown likely to do when he wins the King of Trios?
I'm going to Tebow with my trophy.
Wicked.
Oh my god, the Tebow. I thought I was going to say Icky Shuffle. Okay. Greatest football movie of all time?
The Longest Yard.
Amen. Burt Reynolds or Adam Sandler version?
Adam Sandler. Sorry, guys.
We'll argue.
Cool.
The zombie apocalypse is amongst us. Which do you throw to get? Which quarterback do you throw in the way so you can escape the zombies? Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Tim Tebow, or Mark Sanchez?
Mark Sanchez.
Mempho.
All right. The 1985 Super Bowl champion Chicago Bears or Grizzly Redwood's beard, Dan Severn's mustache, and Gavin Loudspeaker's hair. Which one wins in Iron Man football?
Oh, wait. Repeat that question?
The 1985 Super Bowl champion Chicago Bears versus Grizzly Redwood's beard, Dan Severn's mustache, and Gavin Loudspeaker's hair. Which one wins in Iron Man football?
Obviously, the hair, the mustache, and the beard.
Fair enough.
Wicked.
The 2012 Alabama Crimson Tide or the Dallas Cowboys? Who wins?
The Cowboys.
Better sex tape, Doris Roberts from Everybody Loves Raymond or Betty White?
Oh, jeez. Maybe Betty White.
Mempho, last one.
Last one. Who has the more rabid fans, NFL football or SEC college football?
I would say SEC.
Wicked.
Who plays you in the movie of your life?
What?
Say it again.
What was that question?
Who plays you in the story of your life in the movie?
Oh, jeez. Maybe Sean William Scott.
Dream job after pro wrestling said, done, and over with. Head football coach of an arena football league team or talent coordinator for the lingerie football league?
I was just going to ask, is lingerie football league coach one of the answers? But yeah, that's what I'll do, lingerie football league.
And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Touchdown, Mark Angelosetti, has just completed successfully the lightning round, which, of course, there are no wrong answers to begin with. Mark, thank you for hanging out on that one. Greatly appreciate it. Folks, we got to make our way to the top of the hour, but before we do, I want to remind everybody, mark your calendars, make your plans. If you are anywhere within 100 miles of this, guaranteed it is going to be a great time to be had by all. It is the 2012 King of Trios, September 14, 15, and 16 at the Palmer Center, 4100 Green Pond Road, Easton, Pennsylvania. Friday and Saturday nights, bell time is set for 7:30 p.m. Sunday bell time, 4 o'clock p.m. Keep your eyes on ChikaraPro.com for all information for the 2012 King of Trios. Mark, if I may, how can everybody track... sorry about that. Mr. Touchdown, how can everybody keep track of you and get to know you a little bit better on the social media?
You can follow me at Mark Angelosetti. That's my Twitter account. Me and Veronica post like our love notes back and forth to each other. That's pretty romantic. You can also find out like what my diet is and some of my workout routines, because I know everyone wants to be and look like Mr. Touchdown and be such a great athlete like myself as well. You can also go to the Wrestling Is channel, where Supper with the Hatfields will debut every third Friday of the month, which includes me, Chikara Pro,
Yes, I'm gonna be
a public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation.
Every once in a while, the computer rotator decides to mess up. Mr. Angelosetti, thank you for coming on with us this evening. Mark, it's been great to talk to you, and the door is definitely always open. Anytime you've got something going on, we would love to have you come on back on Beyond Ringside. Deal?
Alrighty, thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, our very special guest with Chikara Pro Wrestling, Mr. Touchdown, Mark Angelosetti, has just gone Beyond Ringside, and we will be back right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network right after this.
This morning, a woman reached out. A man stepped up. Somebody sat down with 16-year-old Steven and taught him better study habits, and suddenly, toughing it out till graduation seemed to Steven a pretty good idea. We're realizing the way we live our lives can impact the way others live theirs, their education, their income, their health. We're not just wearing the shirt, we're living it. Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
This is Vengeance David Fuller, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Kenny Kip Kennedy, master of Kenny's Kempo Karate, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Smells good.
Well, look who came out of his man cave.
Just checking on you and dinner.
Well, your stomach clock is fast. Gonna be a while. Well, why don't you...
You okay?
Oh!
Honey!
2 out of 3 people with diabetes die of a heart attack or stroke. But you can lower the risk. Ask your healthcare provider how. For more info, go to diabetesactnow.org. Brought to you by the American Diabetes Association and the Ad Council.
This is the bee's knees, the cat's pajamas, and the whole shebang. Johnny Gargano, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hey, how you doing? This is Joe Walsh. I'm speaking on behalf of RAD. It's okay to rock and roll, right? But don't drive home drunk. If you're drunk, call me up. I have a limo. I'll come and get you.
Sleep all day, out all night. I know where you're going. I don't think that's
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Voodoo Lily with Birmingham's Tragic City Rollers, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best
Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
Hi, NBA forward Kevin Durant from the Oklahoma City Thunder, here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you'll have more energy to do the things you like to do.
And that's a slam dunk.
Whether you like to shoot hoops like me, skateboard, ride a bike,
or dance on your roof,
be a player.
Get up, play, and move it your way.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
Oh, yes, this is Paul Bearer, and some people call me Percy Pringle III. You're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Let me drive.
How do you know when it's time to give up the keys? When your dog grabs your keys from your lap and your lap is on the floor. Yep, it's Jeff Foxworthy Parade saying, when you party, be sure to designate before you celebrate.
If you want to make it home alive, let me drive.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Please don't drink and drive. It's not fun.
This is the Bee's Knees, the Cats Pajamas, and the whole shebang. Johnny Gargano, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hi, I'm Ryan Seacrest for RAD. Over 300 people in this country are killed every week by a drunk driver. That's the equivalent of 2 747 plane crashes every single week. And the problem isn't going away unless we all do our part to stop it. So if you see someone who's about to drive after drinking, get the keys. Don't leave it up to anyone else. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bill Behrens, and you're watching, you're listening, you're experiencing Beyond Ringside, and you are a better person for it. Trust me.
Foreclosure is hard on every member of the family, but your family is not alone. If you're struggling with your mortgage, there is help. To learn about the government's Making Home Affordable program, visit makinghomeaffordable.gov or call 1-888-995-HOPE to speak to a HUD-approved housing counselor. It's free of charge. Visit makinghomeaffordable.gov or call 1-888-995-HOPE today. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, NeighborWorks America, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Joe Elliott from Def Leppard for RAD. Planning on going out and having a party? Great, have a lot of fun. But do me a big favour and don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives. You should too.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hello, this is Robin Zander.
Hello, this is Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick for RAD.
Some people think it's fun to drive drunk, but that's unacceptable.
Be smart. If you drink,
don't drive.
Think ahead and choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling fans from around the world, I'm Lightning Mike Quackenbush, the master of 1,000 holes, and you're locked in for Beyond Ringside.
Citizens of America, this is a message from feedthepig.org. Americans spent more money than they earned in 2005. This is the first negative savings rate in the U.S. since the Great Depression. America, we must start feeding the pig. On the 1st and the 15th, we must pay ourselves before we pay anyone or anything. We must make a budget. Even consider cutting up a credit card. Log on to feedthepig.org today. Find the benefits of saving for every stage of life. Brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
This is your boy, Miggity Miggity Mabo, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
There once was a boy wizard whose name was Larry Smarter.
Larry, why weren't you in Professor Dinky Doodle's mythical creature classification class?
Well, I'm taking Algebra 2 in a foreign language.
Oh, so you can talk to unicorns?
Not exactly, unless they're French.
Larry wanted to go to college, so he visited knowhowtogo.org to find the classes he really needed. Getting into college doesn't happen magically. Learn more at knowhowtogo.org.
Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation for Education, and the Ad Council.
Hi, everybody. This is Jerry the King Lawler. That's right, the host of the #1 rated show in all of cable television, Monday Night Raw. That's right, Jerry the King Lawler, WWE Hall of Famer, Jerry the King Lawler, and I am locked into Beyond Ringside.
Welcome to Move Time Radio, presented by the Arthritis Foundation, and we're smack dab in the middle of our dance-a-thon to fight arthritis pain. Me, I've been grooving for 10 hours straight, baby, but I'm a boogie machine. See, movement is just one of the ways to help fight osteoarthritis pain. Another is weight loss. You get rid of just 1 pound. That's 4 pounds of pressure off each knee. For more information on managing pain, visit fightarthritispain.org. Then meet me on the dance floor. This message brought to you by the Arthritis Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hey, people, this is the Machine Guff Grayson, live and in your face. And remember, you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Welcome to the Maya and Miguel Challenge. Meet Maya and the gang.
Oh, hi, I'm Maya.
Maya and her friends want you to get up and play, because it's always more fun to be active.
Let's get started.
Just go to letsmove.gov and look for Maya and Miguel. You'll find tons of fun activities that'll help keep you healthy and active. Whether you play sports, run, dance, or jump in place, just get up and play at least an hour a day. Take the Maya and Miguel Challenge today at letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
Everybody out there, this is the human hand grenade, Danny Only, 1/2 of the Hate Junkies, 1/5 of POD, and you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hi, this is Little Steven for Rad. We all got to party now and then, but we've got to let somebody else do the driving. Please don't drink and don't drive with somebody else who's been drinking. Thank you.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Live on a Sunday night. Welcome to Beyond Ringside, your home for wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole hell of a lot more. But don't call us sports talk. I'll really get ticked. Fast Eddie Lane, live in the vault in the Full Range Entertainment Studios in beautiful Birmingham, Alabama. Welcoming in studio, tag team partner Mark Mabo Bowman.
You know there's something wrong with your colon when your farts can like outstink a dadgum cigarette.
I'm going to start putting Wicked Nemesis second if you're going back for these. I'd like to welcome in tag team partner, pro wrestling manager, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis.
September 8th, September 8th, September 8th.
And then some. And yes, Mabo?
Remember the 8th of September.
September. That's great. That's great.
We need Jack Nicholson to make that some kind of promo like that. It just sounds like it's something Big Jack would be perfect for.
Give me about half an hour.
Okay, that'll work.
And then after that, give me another half an hour.
Okay.
And then after that,
we'll be off air, so it won't matter.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
All right.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome in our very special guest at this time from NWA Fusion, Mark Bravura, also known as the Mempho Mofo. Glad to have you on board tonight, Mark.
Well, thanks for having the Mofo on there, Beyond Ringside. It is all your pleasure.
Definitely, and ready to have a little fun. Now, I want to take a little time to get to know the Mempho Mofo before we start moving into upcoming events, because you've got a ton of them coming up, and some really big ones, too. For those who haven't had a chance to find out, first off, what makes the Mempho Mofo the Mofo himself?
Well, see, the Mofo is what he likes to say is the last bastion of old-school wrestling. He's in the tradition of Lawler, Dundee, Fargo, Idol, and Monroe. He's not one of these emo guys who like to populate professional wrestling at this point in time. You know, you always see these guys, and they're always whining about not getting booked on shows. and they're whining about all that they deserve, and they're whining about getting their chance. You know, they're always saying they've had it so hard, and they've struggled, and they've given up so much. All those times, the weekends when everybody else was drinking and partying, and they were on the road and getting paid in hot dogs, and they just whine about it time and time again, and they talk about how they're in the 99%. And how hard it is that they're in the 99%. Well, when you're talking to the Mofo, you're not talking to somebody who was in the 99%. You're talking to somebody who's 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. Because you see, if you're a professional wrestler, if you're a real, old-school professional wrestler, then you can't be part of the 99%. Because you're not common, and you're not ordinary. You're beyond special, you're unique. And that's one thing you can definitely say about the Mofo, is there's only one. There's only one Mempho Mofo. He doesn't get cut up by a cookie cutter, stand in line with 10 other guys, and you say, who's who? Oh, no, when you look at the Mofo, you know it's the Mofo. He doesn't get mistaken for anybody else. And that's how the Mofo came up in this business. That's how the Mofo was brought into this business. That's how the Mofo was taught in this business. From the very beginning, that you don't just be another guy, you be the one and only you. And that's what the Mofo is, and that's what sets the Mofo apart from everybody else. He's not a whiny, crying, emo little boy. He's a man. He's a grown man in this business, and that's what this business has always been about. It's been about real, grown men fighting for money, for pride, and for championships.
And
not
for
to
power.
see who could do the most flips, not to see how the most pretty tights, not to see who could get booked on the most shows. It's to beat people up, to win matches, to win championships, and to be recognized as the best. And that's what the Mofo is. He's the NWA Continental Heavyweight Champion. He may just be the longest reigning champion in all of the NWA. And he plans on hanging on to that belt for quite some time.
Mark Bowman, come on in with Mark Bravura, the Mempho Mofo.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way before anybody else does it. Mofo, Mabo, Mofo.
There you go.
Just to get that out of the way. How does one actually become a Mofo? Like, what are the qualifications? Is there an application to fill out? You know, what is there an online survey? How does one become a Mofo, especially of the Mempho area?
Well, you see, it's not something that can just be bestowed upon you that simply. You know, it's not like, you can become a preacher, or you can become an officiant just by going online and signing up with the Universal Life Church and suddenly marrying people. It's not that easy. You know, you don't just go to some backyard with some guy who claims to have been a 10-year professional in the business, bump around a few times and get told that you're a Mofo. It's not that simple. See, somebody has to bestow a certain amount of knowledge on you. Now, you guys may not know this. I'm not sure how much of a historian the different men on the line right now are. But there was a man by the name of Steve Bradley. Steve Bradley is the original Mofo. He's the first Mofo. He, and coming from the Mofo himself saying this, he was the best Mofo. And many, many years ago, before the Mofo was the Mofo, he had the pleasure of meeting Steve Bradley. And Steve Bradley went out of his way, for no reason other than being a good dude, and took the time to talk to the young Mofo, to talk to me, Mark Bravura, when he didn't have to. This was a man who was already in the professional wrestling business, was already being recognized for how great he was. But he took the time to talk to me, just because he was a good dude. And once I got into this business, I had one goal. It wasn't to be the world champion. It wasn't to be wrestling in Japan and America and at WrestleMania and all over the world. I had one goal, and that was to work an event with Steve Bradley and say thank you. Say thank you for helping me recognize my dreams. Thank you for helping me achieve my dreams. Because nobody, up until that point, had ever had my back. When I told my parents I wanted to be a professional wrestler, they said we're ashamed. When I told my friends about it, they laughed and thought it was funny. When I told Steve Bradley, he took me under his wing and told me what I would have to do and said, if I can do it, kid, you can do it. He was the only one. I never got the chance to work with Steve Bradley. I never got the chance to shake Steve Bradley's hand and say, thank you for helping me achieve my dream. Because without him, there would be no me. Never got that opportunity. So after Steve Bradley passed away, and I knew I would never get the chance to shake his hand, I was talking to people who knew Steve Bradley who knew how much Steve Bradley meant to me and how I wanted to pay tribute to him, so that every time I stepped in the ring, not just through my actions, not through the way I carried myself, not just through the way I did business, but everybody who knew would know that I was paying tribute to that man. And that's when the idea was first presented to me. Be the Mofo. Take that as your moniker. So even the people who don't know, if they do a real research, they'll find out real quick who you owe everything to, who you owe achieving your dreams to, and that's to Steve Bradley. Steve Bradley's the original Mofo. As far as I'm concerned, he's the best Mofo. And there are only two Mofos in all the business, Steve Bradley and me.
Wicked Nemesis, come on board.
So is Mr. Bradley your biggest influence in this business?
In a lot of ways. I mean, he had a much different style than I do. He was very similar to Rob Van Dam in some ways, and that's never been my thing. I grew up outside of Washington, D.C., and we had at least 3 or 4 hours of wrestling every day. And I loved every bit of it and watched every bit of it. And then one year, randomly, we started getting the 60-minute version of Memphis. And from that point forward, that was my favorite. That was the one I had to watch. That was the one I had to know the most about. So when it came time to get trained to be a wrestler, there was only one place I was even thinking about going, and that was Memphis. Because to me, Lawler and Dundee and Idol and Rich and Dutch Mantell and those guys, like, those were the guys that I wanted to be. Those were the guys who I thought were the most compelling. Those were the guys who always got my attention, much more so than what was going on WWF or even NWA. So those are the guys that I really try to look at. Since then, I mean, I've had a number of influences that people don't know quite as well. We've had Tasha Simone on this show. Tasha and a guy named Motley Cruz were two people that helped me immensely. Like, I would never have gotten to the places I've gotten without them. I started out being trained in the showroom of a transmission shop. And the guy who trained me, he stuck around for about 3 or 4 months, and then some things happened, and he couldn't train me anymore, and I got picked up by a guy named Johnny Dotson, who was wrestling all the time and every weekend, and used to be do a lot of stuff for Memphis Wrestling. And he said, "Hey, kid, as soon as you're ready to go, anytime I'm on the road, you're on the road." And so I immediately said, "I'm ready to go right now." And I drove him around every weekend, and he kept training me while we were working. And then after about a year in the business, I realized that I sucked. I was terrible, and I had to do something about it. So I went up to Dyersburg, Tennessee, which was probably one of the better areas in the Mid-South at the time, and started working for Derek King, and Tasha and Motley were sort of in charge up there. And I asked them after an event one night, like, "Do you guys ever train? Is there someplace I can come?" And they said, "We're up here every Sunday. Get your butt up here." And so every Sunday, we worked the show Saturday night. I'd drive back to Memphis, get up first thing in the morning, drive back up to Dyersburg. And I have stolen more from Derek, Motley, and Tasha than from anybody else. Derek King is an incredibly underrated talent who should have had a chance a long time ago and has never really gotten his opportunity. Motley worked in every territory you could think of under various different monikers. Yes, it's the guy from the Jumping Death Farmer promo, but he's an incredible guy who is one of the most convincing psychopaths I've ever seen. The first time I was in the ring with him, I literally wanted to pee myself, and I knew who he was at that point. And Tasha I call her Mama T. Like, she is my professional wrestling mother. When it comes to how I treat professional wrestling as a sport and as a business, the seriousness with which I take it, the fact that I don't put up with any of the BS that people like to subscribe to it. I will not put up with people treating it as a joke or having any sort of comedy with their attitude towards professional wrestling and treating it as anything other than respect. That all comes from her. That's something she taught me from as soon as I went to that first training session, because she was not going to put up with any gruff. She was trained by gentleman Chris Adams. She got the crap kicked out of her. Her and Jacqueline Moore both got the crap kicked out of them by guys, and they were not going to put up with anybody who wasn't going to take it seriously. So the way that I treat the business and think about the business and expect the business to be treated all comes from them. Since then, I had the honor of being a part of Team Taz last year and getting to work with Taz. And Taz is very, very similar. As anybody who's met him will tell you that the way he thinks about professional wrestling and the way professional wrestling should be treated and appreciated and respected is on par with, it's the same sort of concept that Motley and Tasha taught, just at another level. I mean, Taz is one super intense individual who had to fight through every negative stereotype you could have when he was coming up in the business. And nobody ever told him that you're going to make it, kid. Everybody told him you're not going to make it from the very beginning, and he stuck it up all their butts. And he wasn't going to take anybody, not working hard. But that was some of the hardest training, most intense thinking about the business and learning about the business that I've ever done. And it was probably my greatest experience in professional wrestling, was getting to work directly one-on-one with Taz, because his knowledge and understanding of the business is second to none. He's an incredible, incredible guy. I wish that, that more people would have that opportunity, would earn the opportunity to get to work with him. A lot of people say things like, oh, I deserve a chance, or I deserve this, or I deserve that. That turns me off more than anything else. I don't believe anybody deserves anything. You earn whatever you get, and I'm very proud to say that I earned the opportunity to work with Taz. I didn't deserve it. I think I earned myself the chance, and he saw something and invited me to be a part of his first Team Taz and to be a part of Team Taz, and that's something I take a lot of pride with, because there aren't a lot of people who got that opportunity. There weren't a lot of people that earned that opportunity, and the chance to work with a guy like that is something, I really am proud of and appreciate. And if you ask me, who's a big influence on you, it's him. He, over the last several years, has probably been my biggest influence when it comes to wrestling, just the seriousness with which he takes it.
You're listening to Beyond Ringside, 25 after the hour on the live version. Also, don't forget you can catch the replays of Beyond Ringside through the Shoutcast Radio Network and BeyondRingside.com, as well as Ustream and YouTube. Fast Eddie Lane, Mark Mabo Bowman, Wicked Nemesis, on the line live with the Mempho Mofo, Mark Bravura, right here on this Sunday night edition. Now, if I could, Mempho, I would like to, as you stated a little while ago, and I wanted to bring this up, you are the current NWA Continental Champion. Now, I'd like to ask, what championships have you had? And also, it's a two-parter, the first time that a belt went around your waist, regardless of whether it was a state or regional title or a national title. What's the first thing that goes through your head when that first belt is placed around your waist?
To answer the second question first, the first title I ever won was actually pretty early. It was in Mississippi. It was a version of the old Southern title. And to be completely honest with you, the first thing I thought when that championship went around my waist is, I don't deserve this. I haven't earned this. And it may sound odd to say that, but that was my first thought, was this should not be here. At that point, I had maybe been in the business for 6 months, and I didn't feel like I should have been getting a shot at the title, much less winning a title. And every moment that I carried that belt, every time I had to put that belt in my bag, every time I had to put it around my waist or over my shoulder, from the day I won it until the day I lost it, which actually I never even actually lost it, the company closed down, I was embarrassed to have it, because I didn't feel like I was good enough to carry it. I didn't feel like I should have been the one as a representative of the company in that manner at that time. To me, like I said before, everything in this business you should have to earn. You have to earn your way to everything that you get. And it took a few years of being, winning various championships in various companies, of always having that feeling that I didn't deserve it and I shouldn't have been in that position. It wasn't until probably my third year in the business when me and my old tag team partner, a guy named Seth Knight, won the tag team championships for a company in Dyersburg, Tennessee. And it took about a year of us teaming together before we won those belts that I actually felt like we had earned them, that we were in a position that we had earned, that we earned the right to be the top tag team in that area. And I felt like we were. I felt like we were the best team in the area, that we worked harder than anybody else, that it was a position that we had earned and we should have been in. Like I said, to me, being a champion, having that honor given to you is something that should be earned, should be appreciated, and it should be taken very seriously. I have a problem with people who don't do that. I have a problem with someone saying something like it's a prop. You can call it that if you wish, but it is the most important prop, if you will, with whatever company of which you are a part. I have been the NWA Continental Champion for almost 14 months now. I defeated Brandon Day back in August of last year and won the NWA Continental title for the first time. This company has been in business for 4 years, and there have only been 5 champions.
in 5 years, 4 years. There have been 5 Continental Champions in 4 years. It's not a belt that gets complicated around. It's not a belt that gets changed every other week. It's not a belt that is going to jump from this guy to that guy to the next guy. It is something that is taken very seriously, and you've got to earn your way even to get a shot at that belt, much less to carry it around. And I'm very proud to say that I've carried it for 13 months now, and I plan on carrying it for much, much longer. Everybody who has stepped up and tried to take it around my waist has failed. I've taken that belt all across the country. Anywhere that I can defend it, I've defended it. I've taken it outside of traditional territory lines, if need be, to defend it, because I feel honored to have it around my waist. I feel like I earned it to be the best guy. I feel like I am the top guy in the promotion, and that there's nobody who's going to take it from me, and I've earned having that belt around my waist. And on September 29th, I'm defending that belt against Mr. Mid-Atlantic Damian Wayne, who's one of the top contenders for the NWA World Heavyweight title. And I feel like I have been overlooked and disrespected when it comes to being ranked in the top 10 for the NWA. I was in there for several months, and despite going undefeated and beating anybody who has been lined up against me, I somehow have fallen out of the top 10 of the NWA. Damian Wayne is still there in the top 5. Guys who are champions in other territories are still in there, and guys who aren't even champions somehow are in the top 10. Yet I, who have been a champion for over a year, going on 13, 14 months now, somehow am not. I who have been undefeated for several months, somehow am not in there. And on September 29th, the 10 pounds of gold in Gloucester, Virginia, everybody's talking about Preston Quinn in his hometown getting the challenge for the NWA World Heavyweight title. And everybody should be talking about that. But at the end of the night, they're going to be talking about the beating that the Mempho Mofo put on Mr. Mid-Atlantic Damian Wayne. And everybody in the NWA is not only going to be talking about that NWA World Heavyweight title match, they're going to be talking about the beating that the Mempho Mofo put on the number 4 ranked contender for the NWA World Heavyweight title. And after that beating, I guarantee that the Mofo is going to start getting some of the respect that he deserves and the respect that he has earned in the NWA.
Mabo with Mofo.
All right, Memphi. Now, out of all of the great names that have come through the Memphis area, who does the Mempho Mofo look at as being the, I guess you could say, the icon of it all?
Sputnik Monroe, without a shadow of a doubt. Not only was he one of the top professional wrestling stars, but something that most people don't know and should know is that the man integrated sports in the South. Prior to Sputnik Monroe becoming the top guy in Memphis, Tennessee, there were no integrated sporting events in the South. Black fans were forced to sit in a balcony in the crow's nest. They were given a much smaller section of the building, and that was the only section of the building that they were allowed to buy tickets for. Even if the rest of the building was half empty and the crow's nest was completely sold out, they wouldn't sell any more tickets. That was the entire South. That was everywhere south from Mason-Dixon. The first place that changed was the old Memphis Convention Center building. I believe it's Cook County. I could look it up, but I don't remember the exact name. It was the old Convention Center, the old house prior to the Mid-South Coliseum, the arena that Memphis Wrestling took place in. Sputnik Monroe was such a big star that the crow's nest area was completely sold out. But there were other seats empty in other parts of the building. Well, Sputnik Monroe, being that he was paid on a percentage of the gate, so people lined up to get in, not being sold tickets. And he wasn't going to have that. So he told the promoter, either you're going to start selling tickets to these for these empty seats to some of my black fans, or you're not going to have me anymore. And when you're as big a star as Sputnik Monroe was, and you have that kind of power and that kind of stroke, that's something you can pull off. And because of that man, sports in the South were forced to integrate. This is way before the end of Jim Crow. This is way before the end of segregation. This is way before Brown versus the Board of Education. This is one man having the guts to stand up and say, this is wrong, and I'm going to change it. No matter how big of a professional wrestling star you are, no matter how many tickets you sell, no matter how many pay-per-view buys you sell, no matter how many T-shirts you sell, you will never be bigger than a man that changes the culture of an entire section of the country, and could be argued changes the culture of an entire nation. Now, maybe it would have happened at some point down the line. Maybe somehow 10 years later, 20 years later, 25 years later, somebody else has made that happen. But the fact of the matter is Sputnik Monroe, on his own, stood up and did that himself. And that makes him, in my mind, the greatest icon in all of the history of professional wrestling in the city of Memphis.
I do have to ask, have you had a chance to read a book by a gentleman by the name of Ron Hall?
What's the title?
Let me spin back around. I'm over on monitor 4. Sputnik, Masked Men, and Midgets. The
Yes, I'm looking at it right now. It's on my shelf.
Yeah, actually, we had Ron on with us about, what was it, 18 months ago?
Wow. About 18 to about almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years ago?
About a year and a half.
When we actually, Mabo first found out about the book, and we were at a convention.
Yeah, over in Georgia.
Yeah, the Legends Mania convention by the Two Toms. Or Two Toms Promotions is what it was. And we had a chance to do a little bit of research, and Mark Mabo had a chance to bring Ron on for an interview, and we really had a chance to, I think it's actually, that interview is still up in our archives over on our Podomatic podcast site. So, yeah,
I might just check that out.
But I have to say this, folks, for everybody listening, if you have not had a chance to check this out yet, the name of the book, let me spin around and grab microphone number 4 so I don't totally lose too much airtime. It's Sputnik, Masked Men, and Midgets. The Early Days of Memphis Wrestling. The artist's name is Ron Hall. If you ever get a chance to check out this book, it is a tremendous read.
Wasn't he also working on a documentary?
I think you're thinking of Michael Elliott.
Was that it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know there's somebody doing a documentary.
We have the honor of speaking with so many different personalities when it comes to the world of pro wrestling, not to mention mixed martial arts, boxing, and all the way around, even roller derby, and all the way across the sports world. And when somebody makes a reference, you made the reference to Sputnik, that was the first thing that popped in my head, because I remember going through that book. I've read it twice. And for those who haven't had a chance to check it out, it is really a good and informative and entertaining read. So that's one.
Well, if you're interested in that sort of thing, I could make a couple other recommendations for you. The documentary Memphis Heat, if you haven't seen that yet, it is more than well worth it. I contributed to the Kickstarter for that while they were still trying to get funding, and got one of the first DVDs before it was released, and immediately took it up to Long Island and let Taz borrow it, and he was blown away by it. He actually let Mike Tenay borrow it, and Mike Tenay was blown away by it. It's an absolutely incredible documentary about a time in professional wrestling that most people aren't aware of just how incredibly different it was. There's another book. It's way more difficult to get. It's called It Came from Memphis. It's about different cultural things specific to Memphis, Tennessee, and one of the main chapters is on Sputnik Monroe. And that was an incredible, incredible book to read. It's much harder to find. It's called It Came from Memphis. There's lots of interesting stuff about Elvis, Jerry Lee Lewis, Memphis State basketball, lots of things like that. It's very interesting if you're interested in Memphis. There are also the books, I believe, that Mark James. He puts out books that have the programs from the Memphis Mid-South Coliseum shows in various years. I would definitely recommend checking those out. It's absolutely amazing to see some of those old programs and just all the names that came through Memphis. So if you're interested in the history of Memphis and the people that went through there and part of what I consider the greatest wrestling territory of all time, I would definitely check those out. And also recently, Bill Dundee did a shoot video series that has some incredible footage from his time with George Barnes, with Big Bad John, his feuds with Jerry Lawler and Tommy Rich, just some incredible, incredible footage. And Bill Dundee talking about his decades and decades and decades in Memphis. And if you're not a fan of Bill Dundee, then honestly you should not be a fan of professional wrestling. You should probably just stop watching, because that man was awesome and was actually a game changer, one of the greatest in-ring talents, one of the greatest promos, one of the greatest bookers behind the scenes ever, bar none. So if you can get a copy of that, head over and definitely find yourself a copy of the Bill Dundee interview series. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah, tremendous individual, Dundee, and not to mention the work that he's done all the way across the country, because a lot of people, and I go back with the industry a little bit, I remember his appearances on NWA Crockett on Superstation TBS, and I was able to do some research as time has gone by, and I saw a lot of the promos that he cut, especially coming out of the Tennessee market, and I wish that they would have let him put that side of his personality out on the promos of NWA Crockett, because I think that could have helped build his personality up tenfold. Because you get onto a national product, and sometimes they have a tendency to try to sterilize it down just a little bit, and they try to keep the accent on their A book, their A locker room. And when you get somebody coming in from another area, it's like, sure, we'd love to have you come in. We know, we've seen you work, we've heard what you do, but we want you to do it this way. And it's like you have a tendency, and I hate to use this term, but there are times when you get put in that circumstances and you almost emasculate the person who's doing it. And for the members of the female gender, I'm sure there's a similar ovariate or something like that. I don't know. So hey, I'll draw heat for that. Guess what? Won't be the first time. But Wicked Nemesis, come on back in with Mempho Mofo.
Really quick, I think I've asked you this before, but I want to ask you for this audience. What has been your favorite moment so far in the business?
I don't know what I would say would be, I don't remember what I said last time. Let me ponder that for a minute. Wow. Some of the things that I have to say that I've really enjoyed, being a part of Team Taz. Like I said before, a couple weeks ago, I got to compete at the Dukes of Hazzard Fest in Sperryville, Virginia, and the Dukes of Hazzard Fest. Nice. And growing up, I was a major fan of the Dukes of Hazzard. I used to make my mom climb in the windows of our car. It was a Volkswagen Bug, but that doesn't matter. It was still very cool.
Yeah, there you go.
But also on this event was Jerry Lawler, who I had the pleasure of working with before, but I also got to work with Jimmy Valiant, handsome Jimmy Valiant, who is another of my big influences and a guy that I just always thought was amazing. He's a guy that you, no matter what, you noticed and you didn't forget, no matter what. And he's the guy that coined the phrase Mempho. That's where I got the first part of my name from. Without Jimmy Valiant, there is no Mempho Mofo. And it was absolutely an incredible experience to get to work with handsome Jimmy Valiant. Even just get to sit with them and talk with them a little bit, and to have him come up after we were done working and tell me that he enjoyed it and loved the gimmick and loved everything that I was doing was an honor beyond an honor. I had actually just finished reading his book not long ago. That's another one I would definitely recommend. It is huge. It's like a telephone book of professional wrestling, and there's a guy that had been everywhere, all around the world, WWE Hall of Famer in anybody's book, from money everywhere across the planet, and one of the biggest stars in the history of the business, and getting to work with him and just sit with him and get to talk to him was an absolutely incredible moment. Other moments I'm proud of, these are kind of things that I don't think most people would necessarily be proud of, but things like starting riots, getting the fans to jump the rail and try to kill me, that's the kind of thing that I guess not everybody's proud of, but a couple of occasions I've gotten that to happen, and that's the kind of thing where you just, thank the world that there's still people out there that believe as much as you do and respect it as much as you do, and will get so riled up at something you're doing to the guy that they like that they're willing to risk life and limb to come after you. So God bless them. Those are the kind of things that when I think back about what I would call my favorite moments and things like that. This past 2 weeks ago at NWA Fusion Brutal Games, I finally defeated my longtime nemesis, the Geordie Bulldog, Sean Denny. We've been feuding for 3 years, off and on, back and forth, on horrible, horrible things to each other. I'd driven off his fiancée and split him off from his family, turned his brother against him, and we had an I Quit, Loser Leaves Town match. And I finally was able to defeat Sean Denny and get him to scream the words I quit, and we had an entire arena full of people, sold-out event there in King and Queen County, Virginia, and women and children were just crying their eyes out, literally, that Sean Denny had been forced to say I quit and was going to be leaving NWA Fusion, and that's the kind of moment that I'm proud of, that it's still possible to create moments like that, real emotion that people get 100% dialed into and are so invested in what's happening in front of them that when you send their favorite packing and he's never coming back, that it evokes real tears and real sadness and really draws people in. Like, that to me is what professional wrestling is all about. It's not comedy, it's not entertainment, it's about creating moments that people always remember. People remember Roddy Piper hitting Jimmy Snuka with a coconut. People remember Hulk Hogan beating Andre the Giant. People remember the Mega Powers handshake. People remember when Jerry Lawler made Bill Dundee leave town, or when Jerry Lawler got his head shaved by Austin Idol and Tommy Rich. Those are moments. Those are things that people will never, ever forget. And to me, that's the power of professional wrestling. That you can do that. You can draw people in and create that unforgettable moment that people are going to be able to tell their kids about in 20 years. They're going to say, I remember when that happened. I remember when Kerry Von Erich beat Ric Flair for the NWA World Heavyweight title in Texas Stadium. I lived in Washington, D.C., but to me, that's a moment I'm not going to forget. And I hated the Von Erichs.
At the David Von Erich Parade of Champions, yeah.
People don't forget.
And that, if I remember correctly, that was Texas Stadium at the David Von Erich Parade of Champions.
That is true.
And moments, there are other moments involved, and a couple that pop into my mind, and for various reasons. Number one, Flair Sting, Clash 1, Baltimore, Maryland. If I remember, I may have gotten the city wrong. I'll hold up on that because Baltimore, Greensboro. That's right. Because Baltimore, that was the night where they stopped the NWA Championship match because Lex Luger did color, got busted open.
That's where Sting won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship from Ric Flair, and a very young, very painted face, very little stinger, Mofo was in that crowd holding up a sign.
And also for me personally, and Mabo has tried to steal my VHS of this, I still have an original VHS of Great American Bash 87 War Games. And which, that is sitting very prominently on the top shelf of my trophy case, and that does not go anywhere. I'll make a copy of it for you, but I'm not going to let you have the original VHS.
And that's the thing that I think people miss out on. It's like the one big regret now, like, as awesome as it is to have YouTube and be able to get your hands on anything you want at any time, being a kid and waiting for that next tape to come out because you weren't going to see anything else.
Right.
We got a VCR when I was really young, and I taped everything I could. Like, I would mow lawns and wash cars to earn money to buy blank VHS tapes so I could tape wrestling. And when my buddies would be waiting for that new WrestleMania tape to come out, I was the one that was just dying for the new Best of WWF tape to come out because I wanted to see the old guys. And my grandfather came to America from Italy when he was 45 years old, speaking not a word of English, and was here for 4 years without his family, and moved to Pittsburgh. So Italian immigrant in Pittsburgh, you can probably imagine who his hero was.
Right.
And I will never, every time I was ever watching wrestling, and he walked through the room, it didn't matter who was on. His words were always, that bum couldn't have beat Bruno.
Right, yeah.
No chance. Nobody could beat Bruno in my grandfather's eyes. And in my mind, if my grandfather, who was one of my heroes, had a hero, he must have been the greatest thing that ever happened on the planet. So I wanted to see as much Bruno Sammartino as I could. So whenever those Best of WWF tapes came out, on an old junky VHS, they would charge you like $80 if you wanted to buy it.
Yep.
So you'd have to rent it.
Yep.
And you'd have to try to figure out some way to jury-rig a couple of VCRs together so you could copy it because they had that damn copy protection on it.
Yep.
That's the stuff I was doing because I wanted to see those guys that my grandfather was talking about, that my dad was talking about. I wanted to see Bruno and Tony Gurita and Spiros Arion and Ivan Koloff when he was gigantic, when he was the real Russian Bear,
right.
When he was Uncle Ivan, those sort of things. That to me is the thing that is the magic that you miss out on now because you can just watch it all. I would go to our library and check out old wrestling magazines that were 20 years old and had Billy Jack Haynes and Superstar Billy Graham covered in blood on the cover. And I'd take it to school to read because we had our reading periods. And I went to a Catholic school and I'd pull up these bloody wrestling magazines. And the nuns would look at me like, what are you doing? And I'd get notes sent home because little first-grade Mofo is bringing magazines of men in their underwear covered in blood to school to read.
Or like the feud.
That was the stuff that I loved, and I think that people don't get that now. You don't have that same sense of wonderment that I had as a kid of just wanting to know everything about this,
I remember very vividly because I still have a lot of the Weston mags, the Ring Wrestling magazine, as well as the Apter mags. God, I've still got them dating back to the 80s. And just I take a look at them every once in a while because I compared then to now. And I think I can classify myself as a contemporary throwback because having been a fan of the business long before I got into it, and you get a chance to witness moments like this from a fan perspective, then you go back and look at it from a worker's perspective, it's like, God, it wasn't just magic to be able to sit there and watch it from the stands. It was also magic to be able to do it from inside the ring, or it's at ringside, depending on what your role that night was. But speaking of ringside, inside and out, as of course you are very prominently featured right now as the National Wrestling Alliance Continental Heavyweight Champion in NWA Fusion. For those who have not had a chance to find out a little bit about NWA Fusion, give everybody a little bit of the background of the company if you've got a second, and also some of the stars who come through your doors.
Absolutely. NWA Fusion started just over, not quite 4 years ago. It grew out of the old NWA Virginia, which was run by NWA Board of Directors member Rick O'Brien. Rick started in New Jersey and moved down to Virginia and transferred his company from NWA New Jersey to NWA Virginia. Just over 3.5, almost 4 years ago, it became NWA Fusion. And we began running in King and Queen County Elementary School in King and Queen County, Virginia. That's our home base. That's where we tape our television every month. The Meltdown Show, which you can see on Vimeo.com, or if you go to the NWA Fusion Facebook page, Facebook.com/NWA Fusion, you can find links to all of our episodes. I think we're up to like 180 now, something like that. Anyway, we started based out of there and have been picking up more events every year. This past year we ran, I believe, somewhere between 30 and 35, 36 events. Next year we already have over 30 events on the books and are looking to get up towards 40 or more. We've been seeing a lot of growth. You know, it's, as anybody knows about promoting independent wrestling, you've got to get all the exposure that you can. If there's a pig picking or high school football or a NASCAR race, who knows what might hurt your draw, but, you know, we've been working real hard to try to expand NWA Fusion. The top guys have been myself, obviously, the NWA Continental Champion. The Pain Train Preston Quinn will be challenging for the NWA World Heavyweight title on September 29th in Gloucester, Virginia. Mr. Mid-Atlantic Damian Wayne, who is a former NWA Continental Champion, will be challenging me on September 29th for the Continental Championship. He's also in the top 10 in the NWA. He's the current NWA Dog Champion. Preston Quinn was a part of the chase for the championship. The NWA Board of Directors told him that if he wanted a shot at Adam Pearce, he was going to have to go through the top contenders, and he fought Lance Erickson, who is the current NWA Mountain State Champion at NWA Fusion's Brutal Games last month. Finally had that last hurdle, and he defeated Lance Erickson and earned his shot at Adam Pearce on the 29th. Our current tag team champions are Brandon Day and Everything's Better with Aiden Chambers. Aiden Chambers is a former Super 8 champion. He's also a member of Team Taz. Brandon Day was also a member of Team Taz. He's competed for Ring of Honor. Aiden has done that as well. All of us have had bookings with WWE and Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor and companies all across the country and all across the world. And our number one contenders for the tag team titles are the team of A1, my mates in the Rapture. These are the guys, they like to call themselves the real world's greatest tag team because they hold a victory over Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. Other top stars are guys like the former Alpha Champion, the Warhorse Larry Horsley, the current Alpha Champion Sheikh Kasir Assad, formerly known as Shorty Smalls, who converted to Islam to get his way back into NWA Fusion. He changed his name and his identity after losing a Loser Leaves Town match. We've had a couple of guys out of New York that I think you guys would be very interested in seeing, also members of Team Taz. The 19th Key, also known as the Ripper, Jason Karloff. He's out of upstate Pennsylvania, wrestles a lot in the Northeast. Incredible athlete, a throwback type of guy, short, squat, low to the ground, incredible intensity, a guy that you think would just rip your head off if given the opportunity. The tag team of Spartan and Nero, the Dynasty. They're located out of Long Island and also compete in the Northeast. An incredible young, high-flying tag team that you're going to see some incredible things on. They're just developing at a rate you wouldn't believe. They're an incredible tag team. Basically, if there's a star in the Southeast, they've competed for NWA Fusion. We have a waiting list, probably 20-25 long, of people trying to get an NWA Fusion. Have contacted me saying, we've heard you guys are the hottest company in the Southeast, and we want to compete for you. I get requests constantly on Facebook and through email with everybody wanting to come in and be a part of NWA Fusion. They've seen what we've done on Meltdown. They've seen our events around the area, and they wanted to be a part of it, and I don't blame them, because I like to think that we put on the best product in the area, and it's the kind of product that I think fans of old school wrestling would love and would love to be a part of. It's also a product that I think newer fans would like. You know, we don't have quite the same silliness as the sports entertainment. We've never claimed to be sports entertaining. Never claimed to be sports entertainers. I never grew up saying I want to be a sports entertainer. I always wanted to be a professional wrestler. And that's what we promote. NWA Fusion is professional wrestling. It's not sports entertainment. If you want to check out NWA Fusion, you're going to go to facebook.com/NWA Fusion. You'll have links to all of our events. You can also find links to our Meltdown television show there. We used the NWAfusion.com page is in the process of being updated. We had a little bit of a problem with our webmaster that we're still trying to sort out, so that page is not up to date, unfortunately. We're in the process of getting that sorted out, and I'd make anybody who checks it out is going to like it. If any of you guys have heard of Jimmy Cicero or Cue Ball Carmichael, and a few guys that were big stars on the Eastern Seaboard through the 90s, they are constantly being used by WWE. Two great guys that ran some great companies up and down the East Coast. Both have worked for NWA Fusion, both love NWA Fusion, and have said that it's the best part of the company they've been a part of since they returned to wrestling. And I take that as a huge compliment. When I was 15 years old, I was given a learner's permit that said I was 19. And at the time, there was an independent company in Alexandria, Virginia called IPWA, which was probably the best company on the East Coast at the time, not named ECW. And I used to take my parents' car, since my learner's permit said I was 19, and I would drive illegally from my home to the arena, the Secret Cove Arena in Alexandria, and you had to be 18 to get in. And since my ID said that I was 19, I could get in despite being 15. And I would sneak into these events at the Secret Cove week after week after week, and it was some of the greatest stuff you've ever seen. And it was a huge influence on me, and some of the best memories of my life is those years going to the IPWA event at Secret Cove and getting Cue Ball Carmichael to work for NWA Fusion and have him tell me that he enjoyed it, and it was one of the best locker rooms he's ever been in, and it was the best that he'd worked with in the time since he'd returned to professional wrestling was a compliment that I could never, ever believe I would get. It was an honor for me just to have him in our locker room, to have a guy like that who's done what he's done, has the respect that he has the people who respect him. I mean, this is a guy who trained with Lou Thesz, for God's sake. I mean, he trained with Lou Thesz, and he's telling me that he enjoyed his time with my company. I mean, that's an honor. That's an honor that you can't replicate, and you're not going to get too many times. That's the kind of thing that I never expected to ever happen in my entire life, to have somebody that was trained by Lou Thesz be giving me compliments, So those are the kind of things that I'm really proud of when it comes to NWA Fusion. I think it's a company that people would really enjoy if they give it a watch.
Now, taking a quick look, if I may, Saturday night, September the 29th at the Gloucester Moose Lodge in Gloucester, Virginia. You've got a huge event coming up. You've already made the reference to the factor of the Pain Train. Preston Quinn challenging for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. Scrap Iron Adam Pearce defending. You've also got a huge match coming up on the 29th, defending the NWA Continental Championship against Damian Wayne, the man you've said is number 4 in the current NWA ranking system. I was going great up to that point. Sorry, kids. Give us a rundown of the balance of the card.
On the balance of the card, what people were calling just a few weeks ago at NWA Fusion Brutal Games, a match I myself will say was the match of the night and probably the best tag team match I have seen in years. And anybody who knows me knows that I am not one for hyperbole when it comes to things like that, but this is one of the best tag team matches I've seen in years. It's so good that Brutal Games is typically a DVD-only release. We're going to put this match out for free for people to see because it was that good. It was A1, the former tag team champions, facing Everything's Better with Aiden Chambers and Brandon Day in the finals of the NWA Fusion Tag Team Title Tournament. It was a lights-out match you wouldn't believe. It was incredible. Everybody was out of their seats and losing their minds by the end of that match. We're going to have a rematch for the NWA Fusion Tag Team Champions, A1 taking on Aiden Chambers and Brandon Day at 10 pounds of gold. They're also going to see the former Alpha Champion, the Warhorse Larry Horsley. He's been looking to get his hands back on that Alpha title that was taken from him in April at Shanghai Showdown by Sheikh Kassir Assad. He's going to be facing the hired assassin, the Soviet star, Boris Dragoff, in one-on-one competition.
Also, Diamond Victor Griff, the man who at one time choked Mr. Mid-Atlantic Damian Wayne unconscious with the Diamondback Deathlock in a triple threat match and eliminated Mr. Mid-Atlantic Damian Wayne, will be facing off with the soft-spoken psychopath, Pat Cusick, in a number one contenders match. The winner of this match will get a shot at the NWA Continental title in November. And finishing off the card, a young man, U.S. J. Steele, who faced the Mofo the last time NWA Fusion was in Gloucester. At most one, J. Steele gave the Mofo quite a challenge, but in the end, J. Steele cracked his face on the steel post, split himself open all the way down to the bone, required 63 stitches to close the gash in his cheek, and still kept fighting the Mofo despite blood pouring out his face like it was coming out of a faucet. But in the end, the Mofo got his hand raised and retained the Continental title. USJ Steele will be returning to Gloucester, and he'll be taking on true talent Bobby Shields. Anybody who's watched Ring of Honor television, anybody who's a fan of Pro Wrestling Ohio or Prime Wrestling on Sports Time Ohio has seen true talent Bobby Shields. It was only a few weeks ago at Resolution 5 in Cleveland, Ohio, that Bobby lost a hair match and had his hair buzzed down with a number one guard on the razor down to almost nothing, shaving the formerly long locks. Bobby Shields will be returning to NWA Fusion at 10 pounds of gold on September 29th. He'll be facing USJ Steele, returning from a gruesome, bloody injury. And, of course, the two main matches on the card, myself, the Mempho Mofo, defending my coveted Continental title against the man who shattered my clavicle into 8 pieces and put me on the shelf for 7 months with a pile driver, Mr. Mid-Atlantic Damian Wayne. I can no longer just walk through metal detectors at the airport because I have a titanium plate and 13 titanium screws holding my clavicle together because of the former Continental Champion, Mr. Mid-Atlantic Damian Wayne. He's a guy who's in the top 10 contenders for the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, but myself, the Continental Champion, is not. So I've got a lot of dues to pay back on Damian Wayne, and I plan on doing that at 10 pounds of gold. And then I'm going to sit back and watch as the Pain Train Preston Quinn, in his hometown of Gloucester, after making his way through the chase for the championship and defeating every top contender the NWA put in his path, takes on Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, the multi-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, the man I consider the best world champion in the business right now. The man who represents what a world champion is and is supposed to be. A man who will go anywhere in the world and defend the NWA World Heavyweight title.
Including
and he
Australia.
is willing to come to Gloucester, Virginia, and defend his title against the hometown boy, the Pain Train Preston Quinn. That's at 10 pounds of gold, NWA Fusion, September 29th in Gloucester, Virginia.
What are the ticket prices and the availability, and how can people get them?
Tickets are $10. I'm afraid they're only available at the door. We had something set up to pre-sell tickets, but that has fallen through, unfortunately. The tickets are only $10. They're available at the door at the Gloucester Moose Lodge. We're expecting a huge crowd. We have gotten a ridiculous number of requests for advance tickets that we thought we were being able to handle ahead of time, but I'm afraid we have not. So you're only able to get those tickets at the door at the Gloucester Moose Lodge in Gloucester, Virginia. This is an event you're definitely not going to want to miss. If you have any questions, feel free to go to the Facebook page at facebook.com/NWA Fusion. Shoot us an email. We'd be glad to answer it. If you want to ask me directly, you can email me at memphomofo@memphomofo.com. I will answer any question that you have. I'd be glad to do that. If you want to check out the television leading up to 10 pounds of gold, that'll also be on the Facebook page. And this is something you're not going to want to miss. We think this is going to be the biggest event NWA Fusion has ever put on September 29th.
Got a quick one for you. We're 2 minutes after the top of the hour on the Sunday edition of Beyond Ringside, but I've got to ask, with some of the answers you've laid out there tonight, I really want to ask, are you brave enough to tackle the lightning round with us tonight? It's a short.
Absolutely.
It's a 2-minute
No
drill.
afraid of nothing.
It's a 2-minute drill where there are no wrong answers. Mabo, Wicked, strap them on tight one more time. I was almost going for the NASCAR reference. We mentioned that being a draw on the gate. Ladies and Mabo, take the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the White Lightning Tim Horner, Lightning Mike Quackenbush, Jushin Thunder Liger Lightning Round.
With the Mempho Mofo. Mabo.
Now, you've wrestled in the Gloucester Moose Lodge, but have you ever had a moose lodged in your Gloucester?
I've never had a moose lodged in my Gloucester. I have, however, lodged my Gloucester in a moose.
Wicked.
Would you rather wrestle Tasha Simone in a pin match or wrestle a grizzly bear out in the wild open?
Definitely wrestle a grizzly bear.
The zombie apocalypse is upon us. What reality TV star would you shove in the way so you can make your escape?
Let's see. The entire cast of the Kardashians, the entire cast of all of the Real Housewives, and anybody who's ever been on The Bachelor.
And folks, that's the first time you've ever heard the word car something or another mentioned on this show. Thank you, Mofo. Mabo.
How much Memphis?
I usually call them something else, but I've heard that there are stricter FCC regulations on this program.
I prefer the term car.
They usually punt.
I normally sit back and just say the word Kartrashian, but I'm going to leave it at that. Mabo.
How much Memphis barbecue can the Memphis Mofo eat?
Unlimited. The Mofo has been to just about every barbecue place in Memphis, Tennessee. He has a top 20. He will not run down them all. However, if you will be in the Memphis, Tennessee area, he recommends the original Corky's on Poplar Avenue in East Memphis, Germantown Commissary in Germantown, Central Barbecue on Central Avenue, and one other, what is the other one that he likes? And Cozy Corner in North Memphis.
Wicked.
If you could wrestle anyone over any time period, who would it be?
Spuddy Monroe, without a doubt.
War Games match. You get to pick your partners. Who's it going to be? The Backstreet Boys or NSYNC?
Oh, Jesus. Well, considering I've actually drank with Justin Timberlake, I'll pick Justin Timberlake, and that would be it. Me and Justin Timberlake against the other 6 of them.
Okay. Mabo.
How much potato salad could you fit in a pair of women's underwear while you whistle Dixie?
I hate potato salad, bro. I wouldn't even touch it.
Well, I don't like it either because it's got eggs and mayonnaise and stuff. But I just had to come up with a damn question, and that's the first thing that popped in my head.
Wicked.
That is disturbing.
There you go.
Favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie of all time? This is a big announcement. I put this on Facebook not long ago and on Twitter. For 20 years, literally 20 years, my favorite movie was White Men Can't Jump. And then I saw Dark Knight Rises.
Better sex tape. Doris Roberts from Everybody Loves Raymond or Betty White?
Who is the first one?
Doris Roberts, the mother from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh, Jesus. Man, I'm married to a Olympic-level marathoner. I don't have to fantasize about anybody.
No, who would have the better sex tape?
Fuck. Oh, sorry. Which was Betty White. We'll go Betty White. She seems like more of a freak.
Mabo, one more.
Better sex tape, Wicked Nemesis or Fast Eddie Lane?
I've never seen what either one of you looks like, but considering that you're fantasizing about potato salad and women's underpants, I'm going to have to go with Eddie.
Okay, no, that's Wicked Nemesis. Only sex tapes I make are just when I try to draw myself naked in the mirror while touching myself. But so you're going to go with Fast Eddie?
Scary thought.
I'm going to go with whoever did not talk about the potato salad in the underpants.
That'd be me.
That would be me.
Okay, so I guess it's a tie then.
There you go. That's a scary thought in and to itself. Wicked, one more.
Favorite comic book villain of all time?
Oh, favorite comic book villain. Yeah, I used to work in a comic book shop. This is a
I did too.
Tough one.
What
one you guys aren't even going to know, but I was a Flash Mark. I loved myself in Flash. The years when Mark Wade was writing it, that stuff was
nice. Nice.
Max Mercury, bro, when he was Quicksilver, I loved that character. He was awesome. So I'm either going to have to go with Zoom or Savitar.
Really, Savitar?
I'm going obscure.
Crazy.
No, the sad thing is
crazy, and Savitar controlled the Speed Force. How badass is that?
See, that
is pretty bad.
That's what's sad is probably half the listeners don't. They might know Zoom or Professor Zoom.
Professor Zoom, especially, yeah.
Which, by the way, he's really annoying on DC Universe Online. But Savitar, I doubt Eddie. Yes. Honestly, now don't lie to me, because I know if you're lying. Do you know who Savitar is?
No.
Wicked?
No, I knew who Zoom was.
See, that's the sad thing. Because I used to work. What years did you work in a comic book store?
Oh man, this is a long time ago. This is late '90s.
Dude, me too.
Exact years.
I worked from basically a little before Death of Superman all the way up to 2000.
Yeah, around that time.
Trust me, dude. You say Savitar. I know. Hey, do you play DC Universe Online?
I do not. I do not have time for this. I don't play any video games anymore, unfortunately.
Well, you know what? I'm done with you.
Sorry. I'm only allowed so many vices, and that one's not going to beat out Jack Daniels.
Hey, there you go.
Well, Memph, tell us, what was your favorite comic of all time? Flash?
Oh, man, I do love me some Flash, but just like I love the old school wrestling, I love the old school comic books, so I love the Justice Society. When they brought back the Justice Society, that is some great stuff. I think it was the relaunch where in the first episode it was, they brought back Mr. America, and at the end of the first issue, he gets thrown through the skylight and lands on the thing, and oh man, that is one of my favorite issues of any comic book of all time. Because they take this character that you've never heard of and don't really care about, and maybe you saw in Who's Who, and by the end of the first issue, 20 pages later, you're totally invested in them, and then they kill him off and drop him from the skylight.
And they kept Wildcat.
Well,
what do you think? Well, what do you think about all the zombies, DC zombies, the Black Lanterns, I guess, and the Marvel zombies? What do you think about this? Because this seems like a little something like Neil Gaiman and Sandman, and then all of a sudden it's everywhere. It's cool to have zombies everywhere.
I read the, what was that called? The Black Lantern stuff.
Oh, the Blackest Night.
Yeah.
Blackest Night. Yeah, I read all that, and here's my thing. I remember somebody, I don't remember who said this, said every character is somebody's favorite character. So anything where they're just killing people off, I think is lazy. So I loved the concept, all the stuff with the lanterns of different colors, and the blue lanterns and the white lanterns. I thought that was an incredible concept. But when they got to the payoff for Darkest Night, I was just this is lame. This wasn't as cool as I thought it would be.
It's similar to how I felt at the end of Zero Hour. So.
0 Hour. Lord, you're giving me nightmares.
Why don't you just bring up 52? Why don't you just bring up 52?
Yes, because that's even worse. I was about to say the 52.
Well, 52 is better than Countdown.
Dude, Countdown was horrible. Oh my God, Countdown. I mean,
Final
it was
Crisis. I'm just saying, Final Crisis.
Or Crisis
Somebody
on All.
Explain that to me. What happened? I have no idea.
They decided to reset.
Straight through it. I have no idea what happened.
They reset everything. Have you picked up anything from the new 52 stuff?
No, I refuse to. I hate it when they start over. I hate retcon.
Well, I mean, this is it going forward. If you like the old JSA stuff, you might want to pick up, I believe it's Earth 2, which is going to have all the JSA. What is World's Finest has some JSA, and then if you want a JSA-esque book coming out next year, it's going to be Justice League of America. It's going to have Stargirl. I know she's in it. Hawkman, Green Arrow, Martian Manhunter, Catwoman, Vibe, and that's the one I'm happy about.
Remember the Keith Giffen JLA run where they did all the comedy stuff?
Yes, sadly.
That,
Justice League Europe.
Getting you into it, not so much, but goddamn, they were funny. Some funny stuff.
It could be
I can't believe it's not Justice League. That was pretty entertaining.
Yes.
Well, like I said, it could be worse. It could be Justice League Europe, which I'm sorry, I just never really got into it. I was a bigger fan of JLA.
No, I was more.
And some really bad art too. How about remember Justice League Extreme?
Yes,
dude, you back off of it.
That was awful.
No, you back off of Justice. You back off of Extreme.
Maybo, you were probably a fan of the West Coast Avengers.
I swear to God, I will.
Task Force.
Dude, I will.
We'll throw random people on the team every week. It'll be great.
I will come across this table and slap you. I will choke you with your own Han Solo vest. Don't you ever talk about the West Coast Avengers like that again.
I knew that would. I knew the button, hot button, button.
I think I'm playing. I'm done with this show.
I'm just gonna say this: Guy Gardner. I'm just saying.
Oh, he's.
I was a huge Guy Gardner fan.
I don't know.
Guy Gardner was awesome.
I don't know when he became Warrior with the weird red.
Well, he could only do so much without the ring, and he
was cool when he had the yellow power ring.
No, that was cool.
Like
yes.
that. Then when they made him an alien.
But he's come full circle, and he is completely awesome in the last run of the old DC universe, and now the new part. He's really, really cool.
And I'm gonna have to go back. You're gonna love this.
The interaction between him and Batman in the old JLA was so great.
Yes.
They hated each other.
I almost reminded me of a good pro wrestling storyline. However, no, it's like on me personally. I can't speak for the other guys, but I've actually been collecting comics since the early 70s, and I've still got a ton of them bagged back, boxed, all of the above in a safe place to where, it would take an F3 to get to them. So now, of course, we will have an F3 in Birmingham in the next couple of weeks. But now, real quick, we've got to head for the top. We're running a little bit past the set point, and to our affiliates, once again, thank you for everybody hanging with us through the break. How can everybody track you down? What's the easy way?
Everything is Mempho Mofo. So you can hit me up at memphomofo at memphomofo.com. The Twitter is at Mempho Mofo. Unfortunately, the Facebook does not allow the word Mofo in my name, so on that one you got to go to facebook.com/Mark Bravura, MarkBravura. That's the best way to get a hold of me. So if you've got any questions about NWA Fusion or you want to book the Mofo, hit me up there. Oh, one other thing to plug, on September 13th, the Mofo will be part of a panel discussion preceding the elaborate entrance of Chad Deity at the Woolly Mammoth Theater in Washington, D.C. It'll be the Mofo. It'll be the Mofo's manager, Marcus King Kong Dowling. It will be OVW Superstar Paradise and international superstar Sanjay Dutt, all in a panel discussion prior to the elaborate entrance of Chad Deity at the Woolly Mammoth Theater in Washington, D.C.
Very cool, very cool. Keep us posted on that, okay?
Most definitely.
And I make the invitation on air and off air and mean them both equally. Anytime you've got something going on that you'd like to get the word out about, please shoot us a message, let us know, and we can make arrangements to possibly bring you back in. Love to have you come back on sometime.
I'd love to. We can talk old school wrestling and old school comic books. You guys have yourself a great, great night.
Ladies and gentlemen, our very special guest at this time, the Mempho Mofo, Mark Bravura, has just gone Beyond Ringside, and we'll be back in 5 right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
This is Vengeance David Fuller, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hi, this is John Andrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
And this is Kenny Kip Kennedy, master of Kenny's Kempo Karate, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Smells good.
Well, look who came out of his man cave.
Just checking on you and dinner.
Well, your stomach clock is fast. Gonna be a while. Well, why don't you...
You okay?
Oh!
Honey!
2 out of 3 people with diabetes die of a heart attack or stroke. But you can lower the risk. Ask your healthcare provider how. For more info, go to diabetesactnow.org. Brought to you by the American Diabetes Association and the Ad Council.
This is the Bee's Knees, the Cat's Pajamas, and the whole shebang. Johnny Gargano, you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hey, how you doing? This is Joe Walsh. I'm speaking on behalf of RAD. It's okay to rock and roll, right? But don't drive home drunk. If you're drunk, call me up. I have a limo. I'll come and get you.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Voodoo Lily with Birmingham's Tragic City Rollers, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best. Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
Hi,
NBA forward Kevin Durant from the Oklahoma City Thunder, here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
You'll have more energy to do the things you like to do.
then that's a slam dunk.
Whether you like to shoot hoops like me, skateboard, ride a bike,
Or dance on your roof.
be a player.
Get up, play, and move it your way.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
This is Jacoby Boykins, a.k.a. the Alabama Ambassador, Mr. 256, and you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Dude, hell of a night. Loved every minute of it. Welcome back into the live version, Beyond Ringside, 19 after 8 Central Daylight Time. Fast Eddie Lane, live from the vault in the Full Range Entertainment Studios in beautiful Birmingham, Alabama. Welcoming back in tag team partner Mark Mabo Bowman.
What does it say about your company when your actual world heavyweight title belt is only $6,000?
Dude, that is $6,000 I don't have right now.
But think about this, Eddie. You can. I mean, how much do replica belts make or cost? Like if you could,
$200-$400.
No, I'm talking about to have one made for your company.
Oh, we can talk about that. Let's get through the intros.
I thought we were.
No, I like to bring in Wicked Nemesis.
Oh yeah, I love that guy. We need to have him back on the show more often.
Hey, Wicked Nemesis, how you doing, man?
I'm choking on a sour patch.
On some sour snatch what?
I thought that was gonna do it.
You remember those nickel lips? They're like
yeah, the wax with the stuff in them.
Yes,
they have sour crybaby ones, and I just ate 2 of them.
Oh, dude, do you remember? I was gonna say, did you ever have warheads or busted?
Yes. I have like 500 warheads right in front of me. My son eats them. I hate them.
Did you ever have busted?
Not sour enough. No.
Dude, but I mean, just the shock of you never know when you were going to get it. It's just horrible. Anyway, enough candy. Welcome to Beyond Willy Wonka.
Yeah, right. Last week it was comic books. This week it's candy. Go figure that one out. What are we going to start, another podcast or something? Or a replay? Or a radio show?
Candy.
We can do that. Mabo.
What?
You were talking about the that belt.
Yes, that belt of that company, that thing and that stuff, and it's only $6,000.
Only $6,000. That's actually the average price for a lot of the belts. Now, not everything can have the either real or simulated jewels that the WWE spinner belt had.
Ironically enough, that's what I said after they neutered my dog. He cannot have the real or simulated jewels.
There you go.
Nudicles.
Nice.
But no, I mean seriously though. But
that's actually a price tag.
Yeah, but we know who we're talking about. You know, the company that Brock Hogan's daddy runs.
No, that is not. That is way cheap for a world title. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean for the alleged second largest company in the United States.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Can I say it again?
Yeah.
Hold me closer, tiny dancer.
Oh, Beyond Karaoke.
We did that too. We'll do it again later.
I'll do it. I'll start right now.
I'll pull up the music, guaranteed. I've got the Full Range Entertainment arsenal ready to go.
Yeah, but I can't remember what I was singing earlier.
I don't remember. First off, I want to say very special thank yous to Mr. Touchdown, Mark Angelosetti, for joining us here on Beyond Ringside during our 6 o'clock hour and during our 7 o'clock hour. The Mempho Mofo. The Mempho Mofo, Mark Bravura, for joining us here on BR. And special thank you to the NWA Women's World Champion, Tasha Simone, for helping to set up the interview with the Mempho Mofo tonight.
And I would like to thank Lightning Mike Quackenbush of Chikara fame for helping to set up the Mark Angelosetti, Mr. Touchdown
interview.
I was concentrating too hard on saying his name. Forgot what I was saying.
We know.
Angelosetti.
And it's just, we've had a lot of fun during this episode, and Beyond Ringside has officially gone drama-free and then some. Sorry, I hate to pop little people's non-existent chest having bubbles.
You said
no drama. And also, don't forget, Chikara Pro Wrestling presents King of Trios.
That's like, what, 2 weeks away?
14, 15, 16 in Easton, Pennsylvania.
2 weeks away.
Check out chikarapro.com for all the information leading up to the 2012 King of Trios tournament.
And then you know what happens after that.
During that is actually the Fan Enclave.
Conclave.
Concan. I beg your pardon. Okay.
What?
You don't remember? Oh, it's probably before your time.
If you're saying it, yes, it probably is.
Technopop band called Konkan, Konkan, made a dance remake of the song "I Beg Your Pardon, I Never Promised You a Rose Garden," the old Lynn Anderson hit.
Wicked, save me. He's gotten all ancient on me.
I have no idea what the hell he just.
I don't either.
He just said it's like, oh,
I'm looking at him, and it's like flashes to like a Charlie Chaplin movie where it's just him just running about erratically, and then it just stops, and like his words show up.
Yeah, I thought I had it in the database, but unfortunately I don't.
Hold me closer, Tony
Dancer. Oh, you cut out him. No, I was singing with you.
Well, no, I was going for the other version. Hold me closer, Tony Danza.
Tony Danza?
That's good.
Wow.
Yes.
How many different references can we make in the final few minutes here this evening?
Who are you calling?
This was the song I was telling you about. And they even used the Magnificent Seven theme in there somewhere, I think.
So, Eddie, let me ask you, exactly how often do you have to renew your membership at the Quest?
About half as often as you do.
Oh, no, I get in for free.
Yeah, we know.
Thanks to Blur.
No kidding.
Figure that one out.
Yeah, and I hope everything went well for them. I know that Blur, also known as Mr. O'Hagan from Global Championship Wrestling, Mad Dog Dan Sawyer, and some of the other stars of GCW are up at a show in Tennessee right now. And we're actually expecting a phone call from Mad Dog Dan Sawyer with possibly a surprise guest. So I think that's actually being worked on for next week's episode of Beyond Ringside.
Well, Eddie, let me ask you something.
Yes.
Are you from Memphis?
Why am I having a flashback to a Pam Tillis country song? Maybe it was Memphis.
No. Are you from Memphis?
Ma'am, I am tonight.
Ma'am? Really?
Mark Cohn walking in Memphis.
What the fudge are you talking about?
Wicked, say the word.
Nerd!
Let's pop this sucker. Mark Bowman.
What?
Last call.
Oh, shoot. I didn't know we were doing last calls. We were running this poor train. I don't know. Oh, okay, last calls. All right, everybody, close your eyes. Eddie, close your eyes.
I'm watching the screens talk.
Now, I want you to flash back to Star Wars, Episode 4, A New Hope.
With deleted scenes.
With deleted scenes, and not the crappy one where Han shot first either. Now, close your eyes. Close them. All right, everybody's closed. Now, I want you to flash back to the first time Obi-Wan Kenobi, old Ben, if you were close to him, and some of them little boys were a little too close. What's the first thing Luke Skywalker does when Obi-Wan Kenobi hands him his father's lightsaber? Darth Vader, or Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber, I should say. What does Luke do? He looks directly down the front of it, and all he had to do was flip a switch. And all
Damn it! I had it on mute. I was saying that as you were saying it. Looks down at yes, that's great.
That's honestly that's my last call. Was just how stupid Luke Skywalker was. Not only was he a whiny little turd, power converters. He could have easily screwed up all the plans. He could have easily just destroyed everything the rebellion had built, but by looking at the frickin' lightsaber and poking his own eye out. That's my
sucker gone straight through his head.
I'm telling you, it would have been hilarious.
But how come it would have left a hole in his head and sawed off his arm, but Obi-Wan Kenobi completely disappeared?
Oh, that's a whole Jedi thing.
Okay.
I'll teach you that later on, kid.
Okay.
That's because he's, yeah. You answered, yeah. He's Jedi.
Wicked Nemesis. Last call.
For those of you that have heavyweight belts that get stolen, don't ever refer to yourself as a world heavyweight champion if your belt gets stolen and it's not even enough for it to be grand larceny. I'm just saying, that's horrible. $6,000 is nothing for a world title. Nothing. I've seen people pay $10,000 for replica WCW titles off high spots.
Yeah.
I've seen people buy rings for less than that. So.
Yeah, true. From high spots.
Yeah, from high spots. Yeah.
So excited at that. And
hold me closer.
Oh God, I'm gonna shoot. Don't make me pull up the damn song.
Tony Danza.
I will pull up the song.
I want to lick Tony Danza's nipples.
And you wonder why we make the references that we do.
Hey, look, if any woman would like to challenge my heterosexuality, first of all, Oh, I like the little intro here. First of all, ladies, I'm going to need you to be under 175 pounds. I don't want no fat chick. I need you to have good teeth, minimal body hair. Both of your eyes need to point in the same direction.
Hold it. Go ahead.
Oh, you done skipped it ahead.
Yeah, I had to. I was trying to get to the chorus.
This is the only time I know the chorus takes 3 minutes to kick in.
God, it does. It would have actually taken less time to get to Rocket Man. Oh, my God.
Make closer, Tony Dancer.
We have lost it.
Count the headlights on the highway.
Rocket Man.
The bitch is back. That's all I can say.
Oh, burning out there alone.
He's still on Rocket Man.
Oh, okay. But he just said it.
I know it. We're just picking loose lyrics.
I'm still standing better than I ever did. Okay, you can find me at Wicked Nemesis on Twitter.
We're still on Last Calls.
On Facebook.
We're still on.
You can, hey,
Last
just
Calls.
get in touch with me. YouTube, Wicked Nemesis Enoch. Just did a Calm Like a Bomb Pandora and Tasha Simone video. Took me 3 hours to do, and literally it's less than 3 minutes long. I kid you not. So, and also hopefully Beyond Ringside full episode will be up in the next few days. Thank you, Eddie.
Actually, Mabo, go ahead.
Are we doing Last Calls?
I ain't even worried about Last Call. Take it. He threw to you.
All right, throwing to me.
And I'm going to do GCW Radio at 9 o'clock. Throw.
Nobody listens to that.
Yeah, it does.
Anyway, you can find me at the thing, and then the stuff, and then my butt itches. Hold on. I've been sitting in this chair a really long time, and if anybody's ever sat in a metal folding chair for long enough, your butt starts to sweat and it itches. That's why I've been wiggling around here.
We're going to buy him a donut.
Ooh, can I have an apple fritter?
Oh, McLaughlin.
Tony Danza.
God, keep going.
Twitter, MA_BO. Facebook, Mark Bowman. Oh, it's itching really bad. Bob's Comics over here in Trussville, Alabama. BevNerd.com and Twitter and stuff and Face and Creative Concepts and Eyewitness Store and go. That's right in the crack.
Oh, God.
I like actually using the side of the chair. It's in my butt crack and I'm scratching.
Mabo!
It feels good. You like that, you dirty little...
Hey!
Anyway. No, it's really itching. Did I leave anything out?
I don't think so.
Go eat at your local Whataburger and get fat like me. Don't you? Anyway. Fast Eddie Lane. Shameless plugs.
At Fast Eddie Lane over on Twitter, Facebook.com/Fast Eddie Lane over on, of course, guess what? Facebook. And the .com has been taken care of, and we're going to be taking everything back full scale from that vantage point. Also want to say special hellos and thank yous to everybody from Papa Sia's over in Helena, Alabama. I'll see you Wednesday night. The Birmingham Barons will be hosting their final home game of the year and the final game at Regions Park. Monday morning, 12:30 a.m. first pitch. I will see everybody there. I'm actually going to be doing some guest shots with the Birmingham Barons this tomorrow morning for the game. And, of course, you know me. If there's any possible way, I'll also be on a particular radio station that carries the Birmingham Barons, making a Beyond Ringside reference or three. At Beyond Ringside over on Twitter. Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live is the address over on Facebook. And remember, the best of Beyond Ringside 24/7 is available through BeyondRingside.com, through the Shoutcast Radio Network. And, of course, you can also find the video version with the slideshows involved over at Ustream.tv/channel/Beyond-Ringside-Live and through YouTube.com/Beyond Ringside. The video will be up a little bit later on in the evening. I will be hosting Global Championship Wrestling's GCW Radio at 9 o'clock Central Time, which means I got 28 minutes to get everything set up for that show over there. Had a great night last night in Palmerdale, and we got a triple shot coming up big time. Thursday night, September the 6th in Phoenix City, Alabama at the Great Skateplex. Friday and Saturday nights, the 7th and 8th, going to be at the Alabama State Fair at the Oak Mountain Amphitheater. And, of course, don't forget, Saturday the 8th in WA Top Rope, Lebanon, Tennessee. Main event will be Wicked. That's your cue. Take it. NWA Women's World Champion Tasha Simone taking on Calm Like a Bomb Pandora, and it's going to be one hell of a match. Folks, we're going to...
I didn't know I was supposed to jump. Okay, 220 East High Street.
Thank you.
Lebanon, Tennessee, NWA Top Rope. I'm sorry. I was just you were on fire, and I was like, okay, he's just gonna be on the run for the next 3 minutes. So
he is in fuego.
In fuego.
Thank you, Dan Patrick.
What is that?
It's called a munchkin.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my daughter sees Beyond Ringside thing. She's like, ah.
Is that the new one?
Yes, she's talking.
You know what? She's done better than 3/4 of the people we've tried to put in the fourth seat in a long time.
Amen. They have a miracle working on that one.
Hey, Eddie.
Yes.
Which was Santa Claus's least favorite reindeer?
Blitzen.
No.
Who?
He didn't care for Tiny Dancer.
There was no reindeer called Tiny. Oh, Dancer. Okay. Oh God. Volts be back at it next Sunday night, 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. Once again, thank you again to Mark Angelosetti for joining us during the 6 o'clock hour. Thank you again to Mark Bravura, Mempho Mofo for joining us during the 7 o'clock hour. For Mark Mabo Bowman,
Tiny Dancer.
For the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis.
Okay, let me just say this really quick.